Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand. Call
Holy moly, man! What do y'all think about this debate? This is exciting. Um, whoo, little pinky face Walls over there is getting a little nervous. I gotta say, man, it's I just feel like it's time to just like I put in the title here, exit the revolving door. Like we just need to like step off the merry-go-round. Literally today, I went somewhere with my daughter, and she was on a merry-go-round, right? And I actually let her, go on the merry-go-round, and I even paid for a couple other people to jump on, and just trying to do something like kind. And it was funny because I remember when she was a little bit younger, she would go on that same merry-go-round, and every single time that she would come around and she would see me every single time, she would like light up and wave and go crazy, like, oh, it's a surprise. This is so crazy. And now she's 7, right? And she still had fun on the merry-go-round, but it's like she knew she's wise enough now to know that when she gets on the merry-go-round and then it goes past where I'm standing and then it goes all the way around, she knows that dad didn't leave. Well, I'm in the same place, I'm in the same environment, and when it goes around again, I'm gonna see him again. And now that she's a little bit older, she's obviously she had known, right? But I'm talking like when she was like 2. It's like when babies are tiny, you play peekaboo, right? And it's like, oh my goodness, they're gone. Oh my gosh, they're back. They're here. It's like, and I saw her and I was like, man, is that like what happens when you kind of wake up to the ridiculousness of the government and just like the games that they play? Like, do you finally realize the merry-go-round for what it is and you just want to step off? You know what I mean? I kind of feel like that's where we're at as a country. Like, people are realizing what's going on. People are seeing what's going on. People are waking up to it, and they're like, I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm not going to stay on the merry-go-round. I'm not going to stay in this revolving door, just walking around bumping into people like, "Pff, excuse me, pff, sorry, pff, oh whoops, pff," or like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. So I think it's time that we step off the merry-go-round and just not participate in this craziness. However, um, I will be broadcasting the remainder of the debate starting right when they started talking about firearm violence. I think it's important to discuss. Speaking of firearms, if you look right here at that little guy over my shoulder here, that little 22 Magnum, the North American Arms 22 Magnum, I had to get that because I shared the story a few times. A guy that I knew that when I was growing up, a guy I knew that used one of those to save his life and put two 22 Magnum rounds inside the torso of a bad guy. And he almost met his creator, but he, I guess, had mercy on him and allowed him to stay a part of this world for, I don't know, who knows where he's at now, what he's doing, but I just thought it was a cool thing to have, a little fifth pocket gat, a little deuce deuce mag. But now, of course, when I went to the shop, I was like, y'all don't have any 22 Magnum. They're like, no, no, we got 17 HMR. I can't thank you, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. And then I was like, well, hold on, do I have 22 mag? No, I don't have 22 Magnum. I was like, I wonder if any of my local shops have 22 Magnum. So I literally have a brand new 22 Magnum right there, and I have no 22 Magnum. So I guess it's kind of, I don't know. It's just a little butt gun. That's all it is. Just a butt gun for all those late PWEDC nights. And look at this, right when I say it, bam, patches right there. PWEDC for those late nights that you shove a gun in your butt. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep it going. I do have someone that's going to be joining me tonight, but until then, I am going to be. Let's see. Can I pull this up? Let me see. Let me check something real quick. Um, yeah, why not? Let's do it. All right, hang on one second. Okay, hang on one sec. Hang on one sec. Before I do all the intro and all that stuff, I do want to let you guys know that right now don't get too excited. Okay, wait until you hear me first. Okay, um, right now, ladies and gentlemen, um, is this the here we are. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, definitionknives.com is live. And it's look, it's been a challenge to put this together, okay? We threw this together, and I'll be honest, I threw this together, and we've been building this for a long time, and it's the system that we're using is difficult. It is not up and running. Okay, we do not have the payment processor completely up and running yet, so the shipping info is not correct, and the processor is not working yet. We should have it, together soon. It's likely going to be this week, okay? But I got to say, man, I'm so pumped. This has been like the entire year. You got any 90% off codes? Oh man, not yet, not yet. So yeah, I'm pumped about this, man. This has been so much work, and I have a completely different you know just perception of like when people design and develop things, and then they happen to have them manufactured like in China, like we are, for an example, then getting them shipped in and then set up everything. And you know what, here, I'll show you this too. Hang on one second, let me grab something. Oh, don't break my headphones. Oh, oh. hold on. I'll just set those there. Okay, hold up. Even something like the packaging, right? Like everything we're doing to get the packaging ready. Like again, it just seems like, something so simple, and then we're gonna put the foam inserts in there and all that. We were gonna do like, because it's a sleeve thing. We have other boxes being made right now too, but it's like a sleeve, and we were gonna have like push me right here, and then you push, and then push me harder daddy right there. But it's just, it's too small, it's too difficult to put that in. It would be absolutely hilarious, but we're not going to do that. But the boxes are looking dope. It says definition knives, and then on the back end it's got the steel type, the model, and then it says your mom's box, because we couldn't do this and not put your mom's box on it. I just find that absolutely hilarious. And just to show a little bit about how ridiculous and immature that we are, excuse me. But we're in the process of getting these all up and running, and people can, look on the site and stuff. But excuse me, but we're getting it up and running, and provided that the merchant processing gets accepted this week, and provided that the shipping stuff can get taken care of. Look how gorgeous they are. Wait till y'all see the inside, dude. The foam inside, laser cut, with a laser cut foam, with the cutout for the knives, laser cut, with definition knives, laser cut in there. The logo, dude, they're absolutely gorgeous. I'm so fucking pumped. Hang on, hang on. Ah, let me put these back. Give me one second. Okay, might be. But anyway, yeah, super pumped about that. You guys can feel free to go on there, take a look, if you want to look around. It's the first launch one is 5 knives, and that's it. The same 5 knives that we've showed you guys, and you'll be seeing a bunch of other people talking about them. And look how gorgeous that is! Gorgeous little stick, man, dude. Rocking your own knife on your pocket with your own logo on the pocket clip. Like, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's fun. Anyway, so we should have the rest of the packaging material in this week, and then once we get the packaging material in, we should have everything set up at the site with the merchant processing, credit card processing, and all that. I know that, I mean, I guess technically, because we know everything is going to be in this week, we probably could start doing a pre-sale or something like that, but I don't know. I don't really feel comfortable about that until everything is like in our hands, ready to go. I don't know if I want to do that yet. We'll see. And then, of course, I did tell T for Tejas, I have to be a man of my word. Choose to be a man of my word. I have to let T for Tejas be the first dude to purchase um, a knife, and then the sales will be open for everyone. Lastly, the a few people reached out, and they were like, "Hey, are you doing anything for like people that want to buy all 5?" And I was like, "What? Like all 5? Like what are you talking about?" And he was like, "For people that like just want to support the channel and like buy like all 5. Are you doing anything for it?" And I was like, I didn't even think about that. I just figured, people buy what they want. If they want the DK1, just click on this and boom, 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 and you get the DK1. Or if people want the journalist, which is Crumps, that people would buy, the journalist, or but I had like 3 people say, well, you should do like a full collection. And I was like, "Yo, that's actually a really dope idea." So we took the price of all the knives, and then took um, a big chunk of the total cost out. So people would be able to purchase all 5 knives if they wanted to, and reduce the cost, obviously, because it's saving. It's a big deal for people to purchase like that much, right? But also, it's it saves us on shipping and stuff like that too. So Yeah, so we're pumped. We're excited. This is a huge thing. We have been wait. I mean, this absolutely has to be killer. It's gonna be dope. So many people are also really pumped about it. Lots of viewers of even other people like the Tactical Turkeys and John Crump and the whole crew. The interesting thing to make it even crazier is this is launching while we're gonna be gone at IV88. So, I'm sorry. I guess I'm not supposed to say on social media when and where or whatever, but we're going to be out of town this coming up weekend, and we are going to go live like right before we go out of town. So, whoops, but we'll make it work. It just may be like, I mean, we'll be back. Like I'll be back Sunday night, and then I'll be able to start fulfilling orders, and we'll be like back. So, I mean, really, if someone ordered Friday night, Saturday, or Sunday, they probably wouldn't expect it to ship until Monday anyway. So, anyway, that's the thing. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, I appreciate all you guys so much, man. You guys are incredible. Dark Sig 556 SWAT. Yes, that is the Sig 556 SWAT SBR. It's a 10 and a half, 10.5, 10 inch. I think the box actually says 10 inch, but it's a 10.5. Um, I also want to say, Kurt, bro, thank you so much. Like Kurt out of nowhere, before I even started the show, just cash apped me $50 and said, just because, bro, you guys, man, y'all are incredible, dude. I thank you, all of you, all the support, just being here watching and busting some caps. I appreciate all you guys. And Safety Haba Firearms is the one responsible for this little 22 Magnum right here. So thank you for that. And guys, anytime we got to remember the people that we know that are in the space to get tools like that. So if anyone out there is out there building stens and needs sten parts, you may know where to go if you were to look up on the world's most popular search engine, sten parts, and then something similar to .net, but com. You'd be able to find a great place or a Safety Harbor Firearms. That you never know what Walt has. All right, so hit him up. He's a great resource. Don't forget great people like Jonah, and we have so many resources in this community. Let's just make sure that we take advantage of it. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and then we'll jump into the debate live stream because I'm running behind on it now. Dangle Matt was first this evening, brother. Dangle Matt, I appreciate you, man. Congrats on being first, and let's high five. Congrats, brother. We also got Kurt, my guy, who is Kurt 24, the producer of the show. You already know. And not only is he a channel member, but he's a moderator. Gutta Cheese, what's up, brother? Gutta Cheese is also a channel member. Let's say, and I'm sorry. So for everyone out there, what we do is we take the next 10 minutes or so to greet all the channel members because the only way that there's any monetization on this platform is if people uh, decide to be channel members. So there you go. I did not monetize the stream because I'm going to be playing somebody else's content, and let's be real, they're not going to monetize it anyway. So whether I choose to or not is probably totally irrelevant. Get a cheese, Kurt 24, Mike McClune, the Goon. What's up, brother? Great to see you. Also a channel member and a moderator. So show some respect. Put some spec on his name, I believe is what they say. Let's see, Kurt 24, Mike McClune. Senor Gutta Cheese, Gutta Cheese. Eric Stockbridge, what's up, brother? Also a channel member. Appreciate you, my guy. See Mike McClune, the Goon, Kurt 24, Mike McClune, Gutta Cheese. Zanty Misfit, brother, what's up? Great to see you. Also a channel member. Appreciate you, man. Let's see, Zanty, Mike McClune, Zagoon, and Senor Fromage. T for Tejas, what's up, brother? Great to see you. Also a channel member, and also, dude is going to be the first customer of Definition Knives because he was also the first customer of DLD Hardware, and he asked me, and I was like, bro, you know what? Yeah, all right, I'll do that. I'll do that. Drew, what it do? Lifetime channel member. Appreciate you, brother. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, cool. Let's see. Drew, my brother, you are awesome. T for Tejas. Gort, great to see you, Gort. It's been a minute. Long time channel member. Let's see who else we got here. Kurt 24, T for Tejas, Drew, Drewski, what it do ski. Senor Bob, great to see you, my guy. Also a channel member. Great to see you. Let's see. Drew. What it do. Mike McClune, Clune. Zanti Misfit, T for Tejas. JD Vance's dark stunt double. Yeah, right. Dark is JD Vance's stunt double. Tank Money, are you saying that all white people look alike? Is that what you're saying, bro? Come on. I'm just kidding. I don't watch TV. You know what? I actually wasn't watching TV. I was watching Crowder. And you know what? Actually, you know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to watch Crowder because they actually are going to be fact checking it and giving, good information, skewed information, right? We know what their values are. We know that they're likely compromised as well, but just use some discernment and just do whatever you can to be as, you know, reasonable as possible. 3-0 hate. Great to see you, brother. Appreciate you coming and hanging out as well. Also a channel member. Let's see. Gort. You got any 90% off discount codes? Detective John Kimball, also a moderator. Appreciate you, my guy. Let's see. Gort, Get a Cheese, Anti Misfit, Gort. Live Life. What's up, brother? Also a channel member. Appreciate you, my guy. Let's see, Kurt 24, T for Tejas, Live Life, Eric Stockbridge. We said what's up to Eric Stockbridge. There he is, Fluffy Bunny Arsenal. What's up, my G? Good to see you. Yes, the 5.56 SWAT. Honestly, if there were two guns that I just don't run anymore and would probably sell, the SIG 5.56 SWAT SBR and the Arsenal 5.56 Crink SBR. I just don't run them. And I know it's like blasphemy for me to call a 5.56 AK a Crink, but it is an AKS 74U 8.3 inch SBR. Like, it's a rifle, right? It's not in 5.45 as the good Lord intended. However, at the time, it just 5.56 was cheap and plentiful, and the only stuff you could get in 5.45 was dirty and corrosive. But man, now I wish that we could get spam cans of the poison bullet, which you just can't, just because of all the BS with sanctions and all that, and rounds being banned and all. Isn't that a bunch of bullshit? Like, it's crazy. People that are running this country are destroying us, man. Well, let me say that differently. The people that are running the world are destroying this country. Okay, Get a Cheese, Kurt 24, the producer of the show, Mike McClune, bro, Detective John Kimbo, Gort, Fluffy Bunny Arsenal, Get a Cheese, DJ K. There he is, Blue Curtain Burner. What's up, brother? Great to see you. Also a channel member, Senor Bob, and Mr. Z, also a channel member. Appreciate you, my brother. Let's see, Senor Bob, Mike McClune. Let's see. I'm just catching up here, making sure I don't miss anybody. And did I miss any channel members? Okay. And obviously, all of you guys that are here, the honorable mentions. Of course, we got G23. What's up, brother? We got Damien, my brother in Christ. Great to see you, Damien Christ. He changed it to Damien Christian, but he's always going to be Damien Christ. That's just what we say. Leaving the Matrix, what up? Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Safety Haba, great to see you. Edge of the South, great to see you. Mr. Scoot, what's poppin'? DB, what's up? Crink D's nuts. Great to see you, man. Let me know how Monica is doing. It's been a while since I've seen her. Oh, you mentioned her. Oh, good. Say it real slow, one syllable at a time. Let's see. Damien Christ, DJ K, P38, Wilberto. Great to see you, my guy. M. Gabriel, what's up, player? Great to see you. All you guys, if I miss anyone, man, it's not intentional. Jason Schmidt, what's up, fam? Good to see you. M. Gabriel, G23, G23, Damien Christ. Oh, I may have missed somebody. Going through. Dang, old Matt, you were number one, so technically I didn't miss you, but great to see you as well. Everyone else that's in here, JC Neener, my guy, great to see you. Tech Money, and anyone else that I missed, I appreciate all y'all. Sound off in chat, and I'll make sure I say what's up. Hold up. Hey, whoa, yo, Kurt24 gifted 5 DLD After Dark channel memberships. Oh, I can't see it right now because my phone's on the whatchamacallit, but welcome to the new 5 members of the channel, and appreciate y'all. You guys will all get shout outs moving forward. And yeah, now, typically we're doing 3 streams a week, so it varies, right? Sometimes I have to do every other Saturday, but I'm working on a solution for that so I can see you guys more, and I appreciate all you guys. Gifted, nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Adam Baum, what's up, player? Great to see you. Thanks. Also, that's weird. Hold up. Maybe I can go away from this. Hang on one sec. I think I can. I think I can. I have to turn this off. Yep. Don't forget, you're a standard moderator for this channel. Yes. Okay. Too Many Choices was gifted a membership by Kurt24. Tim Hoppa was gifted a membership by Kurt24. Tech Money was gifted a membership by Kurt24. Rip Crow Readiness was gifted a membership by Kurt24, the producer of the show. Don't let anybody know. And John Doe was gifted a membership by Kurt24. Heck yeah. Oh, and you were sending me, oh, you're the man. See, Kurt was literally sending me the whatchamacallit. Thank you, my guy. Let's see. Oh, now I got access to all these crazy emojis. These are pretty fire emojis, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the ones that are me are a little weird because it's weird for me to do emojis of myself, but hey, the people want it. I'm gonna give them what they want. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let me get here. DarkMavis, 3 streams a week. I have a week stream every night. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Zanti Misfit, Get a Cheese, Zanti. The hamster is currently sleeping, and every time, and this is kind of one of the things, right? Like, I love like waking him up, bringing him over here, and like holding up my hamster or guinea pig, whatever you want to call it. I like calling him my hamster. But then he's like at my feet, like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. You woke me up, so pay attention to me. So I'm gonna let him stay sleeping over there. But the hamster dog is awesome. He's really cool. He's become my best friend. I do sometimes like want to choke him out and like throw him off the balcony, but aside from those times, he's pretty cool. Also, the DarkMavis channel, just so y'all know, I don't know how this happened. I went from like 100 and something subscribers to like 300 subs on there. I have no idea how. Of course, Flying Rich is calling me while I'm live with you guys. I guess one of my videos blew up, and I have a suppressed 22 LR, and it's called like the quietest 22 in the world or something like that. It did like 50,000 views or something crazy like that. So a bunch of people are subscribing to the channel. I'm like, what the hell? It's just the user channel that I use. It's a non-channel channel. Um, anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Flying Rich, you just called me while I was on the live stream, but thank you for joining. Also a moderator, and also Johnny Propane. What's up, brother? Also a channel member. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Flying Rich, you're more than welcome to join if you like, or whenever you're done watching this terrible abomination with your spouse. Let's go ahead and bust it wide open, I believe is what they say. Hang on. Chessboard, what up? Good to see you. Okay, Brass Catcher, what up? What up? For real, straight up, 3-on-1 all day. All right, hang on one second. Window. All right, let's do this. Okay, bam, and also share tab audio. Yes. Okay. So let me know if I have this backed up to where I want to do the one with Crowder because they're actually fact checking it as well. Of course, I know we already talked about it. I know that their view is going to be skewed or whatever, but look, we're on the merry-go-round. Most of us, not too long ago, were the ones that were, waving at our parents on the other side every time we came full circle. So a lot of us have stepped off the merry-go-round. A lot of us have exited the, revolving door. But I think it's still, even though I don't really want to engage with this stuff, it is important to follow, because this is the status of our country, and we are in an active culture war. They are trying to crush us. They are trying. Y'all know. I don't even have to tell y'all. I'm preaching to the choir. Y'all already know. But let's go ahead and watch it. Let me know if, when I mute, if the audio still goes. If it doesn't, I'll figure it out. So love y'all.
We want to turn now to America's gun violence epidemic.
That's a scoliosis pose, by the way.
Oh my God.
I have it, I know.
Children and teens in America is by firearms.
Okay.
No,
Not true. They
You
said
oppose
children and
most gun
teens.
legislation that Democrats claim will
That's
curb
not what the
gun
administration
violence.
says.
You oppose red flag gun laws
accidents,
and
by the way.
legislation to ban certain semi-automatic rifles.
Whoa, a
including
loaded question. By the way, not
AR-15s.
even close
So
to
let me
car
ask you,
accidents,
earlier
accidents in
this
the
year,
home.
for the
If you
first
take
time,
out
the
15 to
parents
19-year-old
of a school shooter
gangbangers,
were
gun
convicted
violence
of
doesn't even crack the top 10 of the list. I
involuntary
hope JD
manslaughter
Vance
and
answers it.
sentenced to 10 years in prison. Do you think holding parents responsible could curb mass shootings? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Nope.
Yeah, well, Nora, on that particular case, I don't know the full details, but I certainly trust local law enforcement and local authorities to make those decisions. I think in some cases the
Don't
answer is
trust
going to be
them.
yes, and in some cases the answer is going to be no. And the details really
Good
matter
answer.
here, of course. For example, if a kid steals a gun, that's going to be different than if a parent hands over a gun knowing that their kid is potentially dangerous. But look, I want to just sort of speak.
All right,
as
let
a
me
father of
address
3
something
beautiful little
real
kids,
quickly.
and our oldest is now in 2nd
Hang
grade.
on, I gotta shut some
And
of
like a
this
lot of parents, we send our
down.
kids to school with such hope and such joy and such pride at their little faces on the first day of school. And we know, unfortunately, that a lot of kids are going to experience
Yo,
this
which
terrible
one am I
epidemic of
screen
gun
sharing,
violence.
bro?
And of course, our hearts go out to the families that are affected by this terrible stuff. And we do have to do better. And I think that Governor Walz and I actually probably agree that we need to do better on this. The question is just, how do we actually do it? Now, here's something that really bothers me and worries me about this epidemic.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, I was losing track. Oh, I see you back there. Give me 1 second. Okay, so a couple things. So first off, hey, Rusty Shackelford, where you been, bro? Great to see you, man. Chinamemba for 26 months. Great to see you. Miss you. Love you. A couple things. It's great to have you here, by the way. So I'm airing this so we can watch the debate. Okay. Why am I airing it on Crowder? Do I believe that Crowder is the best source of information? No. Do I believe Crowder is compromised? Highly likely. If you don't believe me, go look up at some of the organizations that have provided him funding. Do I think that actually I'll shortcut this. The reason that we're watching this on Crowder, some people love him, some people adore him. They're live fact checking what people are saying, both sides. So I think it's important. Obviously, I know he is swayed, right? Usually towards like our thinking. But honestly, like, let's be real. Like, when we're looking at the ticket here, we'll bring Richie Richmond. When we're looking at it, for sure. Liberty, freedom, and independence is not on the ticket. Okay, like no one is going to come in and save us. Okay, Jesus Christ is not on the ticket, right? The only we cannot. And your camera looks good, Rich, by the way.
Yeah, I got to hit one button, I think.
You need some light, though.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Is anyone on the ticket going to save us? Absolutely not. Are the next 5 presidents going to save us? Absolutely not. The reality is that you guys know that our lives get a little bit easier, and most of our freedom, liberty, and independence is less inhibited when one, particular. We've seen what Trump did over 4 years. He also did a lot of terrible things, but just please, as adult, specifically adult men that typically watch my show, just please get it out of your head that no one is going to save you. No one is going to pull you out of where we are right now. However, our lives could be made a little bit easier. That's all I'm saying. Real quick. Mark Tucker, what's up, brother? Great to see you. I'm sorry. Mark Tucker, the hurricane will affect voting. Absolutely. You must get family and friends to vote early. An attack on technological infrastructure could wipe out votes cast on election day. Absolutely. 100%. All right, I'm gonna before I bring it back up here. Do you want to do a quick intro and say hi to everyone?
Yeah, sure. Boy, I hold on. Let me get this a little different.
A&R says epilepsy warning would be nice.
Oh,
So
don't get epilepsy.
Funny thing. I actually did not know that someone in a professional environment did have epilepsy, and I was playing a video on screen that
Oh shoot.
was not good. And apparently, when you run a multi-million-dollar company, there's a lot of liability in that. So I think it's like really a thing. So A&R, is that like a real thing, or are you just being silly? Because moving forward, we'll probably
All right. The I can't set my ISO.
So while you work on that, do you want to just say hi to everyone
right.
real quick? There you go.
Boom.
Look at that.
Okay. Well, it's
Oh, it's silliness. Okay.
anyhow. Yeah. So, did we make any announcements today?
Yeah, I pulled up Definition Knives. I
Oh,
showed them the
I missed that?
website. Yeah. And what I did is I just told them definitionknives.com is live. You
Is
can
right.
go on and you can see the knives. However, we are still waiting on merchant processing, so you can't actually purchase anything yet. And the shipping is incorrect. All the shipping info is incorrect.
Oh yeah, that was tragically bad.
Yeah, like instead of the $8 or whatever
It's like $8 flat rate, right?
it's like $8.56. It was like $18 by UPS. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? It should be USPS and it should be like $8.56. Bless you, Terry.
Oh wow,
Bless
you can hear. Okay.
Yeah, very well actually.
Dark says, "God bless you."
Okay, all right, yeah. So sorry, go ahead. But yes, I did show them, but
So,
I told them that
cool.
they can't purchase them yet. Maybe
Did I get introduced as the partner in Definition Knives? Or?
of course. I said it's me and Flying Rich, and I said that you've done most of the work. Or no, sorry, that
No.
you've funded it, and I've done most of the work.
And that's
Dude,
how that ish works. Rod Aegis, how's it going, man?
Rod, great to see you, Rod. If you guys don't have bottles of Aegis on tap, like literally right next to you, and this is not like a joke, like literally.
Do you know how much Rod pays me to have Aegis on my desk on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Budging nothing. I did get this. I did, all honesty, I got one thing of cleaner and one thing of lube from him for free.
Yeah, he sent.
And I'm not saying Rod's a cheapskate. Rod's a great guy, really nice guy.
Oh, dude, he's gone above and beyond.
I got to tell you,
what we're saying is that we keep it on our desk by choice because it's great, And we thank you, Rod. You're awesome.
I was going through a difficult time. I was going to take a job in Rod's neck of the woods. He's like, dude, you want to come out and visit on the weekend? Definitely come by. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was the nicest. Like, you know how you close and say the kind word could mean everything to somebody?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that, really, really felt.
Yeah.
Made me feel good because I was like, frick, I'm going to be in this. No, he's cheap.
Oh, that's wifey. That's wifey. No, he's cheap. Well, thank you. Both of you.
Wait. I bought a cleaning kit at GOA Golfs.
Oh, did you? Nice. That's good. We gotta support each other, dude. I had 80XR 920. Great to see you.
No, he might mean that I'm cheap. That I thought I was going to stay at Rod's house for the weekend.
Or yeah, no,
free. That might be what he's saying.
That could be that. Yeah. So I actually had. It's funny. I have a neighbor, and I walked out.
The hot neighbor that you keep talking about, or was I not supposed to say that on the air?
No, not the hot one I keep talking about. The worst thing would have been which hot one you keep talking about. No, let me shut up. I walked outside and I saw one of my neighbors. He's like my boy. He helped me moving the couches, and he's just really cool. And I walked out and I was walking the dog, and you could just see the stress on my face, right? Because I'm packaging orders, I'm doing everything that has to be done for DLD hardware and Definition Knives, and I got to take the dog out and go get my daughter, and it's just like, oh. And I walk out, and he's like right outside my house, just walking his dogs, right? And I was like, what's up, man? Hey, Paul Balt, dang, look at all the OGs in here tonight, man. Great to see y'all. And I walk out, and he was just like right smack in front of my house. And he was like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "What's up?" And he could just see it on my face, and he was like, "What you got going on?" I was like, "Dude, I'm just in a crunch for time. I'm like stressed, I'm whatever, but I'm good." And he's like, "What have you been up to?" I was like, "Dude, I'm launching a knife company now." And he's like, "Dude, really?" I was literally just looking for pocket knives online. I was
Oh,
like,
cool.
"Yeah." And I had one with me. I had the birdshot, and I was like, "Yeah, check this out." At the time, it wasn't lasered yet, but I was like, "Check this out, boom! Like this is what we're going to be launching." And he was like, "Dude," he's like, I want two of them. If you can give me one in black and one in green, I want two." And I
Nice.
was like, "I got you." I was like, I'll give you a little hookup because he's helped me with so much stuff, right? And I was like, "I'll give you a deal." He's like, "No, don't give me a deal. I would like to pay full price, please." And I was
Right.
like,
Right.
"Yeah, funny." He's like, "No, I'm serious, dude. I want to support you in your business." And I was like, "Dang!" Another guy I talked to, he owns a pest company. The dude is an incredible guy. He's one of us, right? He's just like us. And I was talking to him, and he was like, "Send me pictures of your knives." And he was like, "Dude, I want this one and this one. I want the Boyd and the DK one." And he was like, I was like, "Cool. I'll hook you up with a deal." And he was like, "Please don't. I like to pay full price. I know how it is starting a company." I was like, "Oh, you guys,
Right.
you guys."
Right.
But again, I also hate.
What's the knife website? You know what's cool about doing a knife website on YouTube is you can share that stuff.
That's right. Definitionknives.com. We are. Oh, dude, you're not. So Crump wasn't able to do it on Monday, unfortunately. So
Oh yeah.
we unfortunately were not able to do it, but we should after IV88 be picking back up again. It's just been so difficult, man. Me and Rich call each other. We're like, "Hey, are we doing uncensored?" We're like, "I don't
Right.
know. Let's
Right.
check with John." But if we don't get it together pretty soon, we're gonna have to like say me and Rich do it, and Crump joins when he can or
I
something
like
like
the
that.
three of. I really like
I agree.
the repertoire that we have together.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so real quick, I just want to say so definitionknives.com altogether, definitionknives.com is live. However, um, we're waiting on the approval for merchant processing, so we can't, sell anything yet. And then also, the shipping is jacked up. The integration between my shipping system and whatchamacallit is messed up. So we're working on some things. This week it will be fixed. We will complete the site and store and then
Did-
fix all the kinks, and we'll get it up and running.
We didn't say where we're going this weekend, did we?
I kind of accidentally said at IV88 we'll be, and I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to not say anything on social
The
media. We'll
top
be out of
secret
town." Yeah,
event that we're going to at a top secret location that we're not supposed to talk about.
correct. So we'll be launching it while we're at this top secret event we're not allowed to talk about yet. But
Mhm.
I looked at it and I'm like, it's okay, because if people buy stuff on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they likely wouldn't expect it to be shipped until Monday anyway. So
Right. And part of any kind of product is you want to manage expectations. So you want to make
yeah,
sure, hey, people know, yeah, we're going to be. And so the great thing is we have the hardest thing to do. We did
yeah,
is the product is here in our hands.
and it is outstanding,
Yes.
absolutely outstanding.
So
I'm blown away by it.
very excited. It's yeah, I seriously I get chills when I think about it. I'm
Look,
super excited.
so okay, first off, this is the knife that I named paying homage to my father. This is the Boyd. Okay, now this is copper washers and steel ball bearings. Okay, now watch when I just with gravity, watch when I unlock the knife. Like it is just, I mean, stupid butter smooth. Like this thing is just, and
And
it's
I can't
solid,
wait.
and it feels so good in the hands,
Oh, see, I'm
brother.
used to StreamYard where I can click and highlight. I'm like, boom, highlight Kyle's comment.
I need a DK bayonet. When DK bayonet, is this like a thing? I didn't know you guys were all
Right.
crazy. Kyle, wait, great to see you, bro. By the way, if you guys will see that, that is my Anderson front line back there,
Hold on.
11.5
How do
with
I turn off the
with
camera?
with the new AB suppressor can on it, with an aim point comp
Wait,
M
you
on
have
it.
an Anderson frontline?
I have an Anderson frontline. Yes.
Oh, hold on.
And
These 50 cals are heavy.
yes, they are.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
Mute yourself. Here, I muted you for you because you're so loud. But also, uh, I cannot wait to take that thing to the range. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to the range before this weekend. So I'm thinking, look, and this may be a little crazy. I'm thinking about bringing the Anderson front line with the can on it to the super special shoot that we're going to, that we're not supposed to talk about on social media until, you
No,
know.
look what I got behind me. It's not
Hey,
an Anderson frontline.
what
It's not an Anderson frontline.
is it? Not an Anderson front line?
It's not an Anderson frontline.
What is it?
It's the Anderson big bore competition gun
So
before
what?
it goes through its gender reveal.
Dude, so what? Okay, so you guys like all have complete gats already. Like I just
Well,
pulled,
it's kind of complete. It's going to go through a transformation. I
did you
mean,
machine the upper to make it fit yet?
no, I did a barrel transplant.
Okay, okay. I want to say this too.
What is the standard? It's like there's AR-10, there's the Armalite
DPMS and
DPMS.
Armalite. Yeah, yeah.
Not all DPMS is the same.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to be a Trans Anderson.
Trans Anderson. You you guys. I literally just told Kyle like the other day. I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that upper and lower." Like that's I don't even have it in hand yet. Like
Oh,
now I do have but like the amount of stuff that I have is insane, right? Like I'm
well, I
not
mean,
too far
mine
away.
is going to be lasered. It's going to be like titanium. There's going to be gold plating, Inconel plating. I'm pulling out all the stops on this one.
Pam Anderson, Big Fish, dude. And okay, before we bring this back up,
Can I finish introducing myself? I'm Flying Rich, co-host of John Crump Live, producer, co business partner with DLD After Dark and the Knife Company, and I shoot guns and torture people with my YouTube channel online.
okay, sorry.
I'll
hold
tell
on.
you what I
I
don't
can
like
play
about the
that.
camera.
What's
Hi,
that?
and I'm looking at the screen and not the camera. So
It is high, and we can see your messy stuff instead of.
all right, I need the crop. Where do I crop?
Don't
That's
cry.
because I'm busy.
Not gonna
I'm
help.
like, I mean, this has got to go on something. I don't know what it would go on, but it's got to go on something.
It could go on something.
Goon
I
tape. All right,
yeah,
you know what?
okay, hold on.
People just stop
Slow
sending me
down.
free shit.
Slow down. Yes, good. We do love good tape. I have to take a moment and say, oh, nice. I'll be getting the co-pilot. Heck yeah.
Oh, cool.
You'll love it. You'll love it.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's really nice.
And he's not just saying that because it's his knife.
It's beautiful. Look at that.
It is absolutely breathtaking. And they actually, so with D2 steel, a lot of times when you get it, like I love the D2 steel and the bead blast finish, but man, with just how high polished that is, and the bayonet swedge in the back, and the carbon fiber G10, and the
I
blue
think I'm just going to buy
hardware.
all 50 and keep them for myself.
You think we only have 50? So a couple things. Big Fish just had a big incident, and after we hit this, I'm gonna bring this back
that
up.
incident.
Yeah. So
Hey, Bob, can we tell Bob it's very likely we're going to see him mid-October?
possibly. It's a possibility we may be going to a very popular gun show, but we probably shouldn't talk about that publicly yet.
Well, we didn't talk about anything. Just possibly.
All right, so
October.
let's go back real quick. We may be going to a very popular gun show in the Pennsylvania area mid-October. So hang on.
The birdshot description shows that.
Yes. So literally the code got messed up, and then because it got messed up, I copied and pasted all the same stuff. I need to go back in there and change it. That's all. So I'm gonna go fix everything. That's why the only reason it's live is because we had to point the DNS it somewhere. But yes, Oaks, correct.
Oh, I was just gonna type Kyle a message, but
yeah, we'll be going to Oaks. And A&R said Oaks as well. Yes, we'll be going to Oaks.
Don't they say a clean desk is a sign of a sick mind? And if that's the truth, both you and I are the most sane people on the planet.
Okay, hang on. So almost all of the knife things are incorrect. The site is not ready.
So we got fact checkers fact checking.
I know.
us.
Goodness gracious.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
It is, and they're all wrong. I probably should have told you guys that too. So everything is wrong. Empty desk is an empty mind.
I haven't seen Kurt 24. Is he here?
Yes,
oh, there he is.
Here.
Okay.
The website did let me create an account.
All right.
All right, hang on. I build sites for a living. Nice. I should probably holler at you. Okay, so hang on. Big Fish, because now we've left people like sitting wondering what happened for like 10 minutes. So shout out to Big Fish because he experienced a tremendous loss at TriggerCon.
Dude, if that happened to me, I would be like on Main Street still screaming. I'd have a sore throat from. Wow.
You're frozen. Your AI did the thumbs up and then it froze.
It does that. Is my audio working?
Your audio is working.
Yeah. All right. So I got to reboot. It's so weird. I get one chance at doing something.
Yes, we are, Rip Curl.
And then it freezes.
Yeah, all it does is freeze when you do that, unfortunately. No, his Sig 320 did not blow up. He's okay. So Rip Curl readiness, yes.
Oh, it's this one.
We have 26 other knives already. All it did was freeze again. It may be a bandwidth issue. You're back.
No. It's something, the Elgato application.
So we have 26 other knives already started So yes, we're doing fixed blade fighting knives, like little small guys that you can put on like your 11 o'clock of your belt, like right to the left of your magazine. Well, I guess I'm assuming that everyone carries shit like I do. So let's say your gun is at like about 1 o'clock, 1:15, whatever your appendix area, and then your mag is at like 11, 30, 11:45. Right to the left of that, if you have a horizontal small fixed blade knife, it is an outstanding fighting knife because if you ever needed to, just for quick access, grab it and do a utilitarian deed, you can grab it with your right hand or left hand, take it out of the kydex like this, or take it out of the kydex like this, and you can use it. And we're working on something that is a small, highly effective fighting blade with a retention ring. And I'm thinking like
GOA's already running the memes.
So I become friends with school shooters.
Wow. Probably not. There's going to be a lot. Like we're doing a whole flipper run. We're doing a whole fixed blade. But yes, lots of stuff.
So first we got to get out of the financial hole we're in.
Correct, which we'll need you guys to help with that. But let's back it up. And that's been 15 minutes, and we haven't helped Fish. And we don't need I'm not saying this just to help Fish, but look, his absolute worst nightmare happened. He has a B&T TP9 SBR with a Holosun AEMS on a Unity riser with a LAM on it and a B&T suppressor, and it's an SBR. He changed it to pistol configuration so he could lawfully bring it to TriggerCon. They arrived at like 2 p.m. They weren't allowed to check into their hotel until 3, so they had an hour to kill. They went and killed an hour. I think they got something to eat or something like that. And then they came back and his window was smashed in and somebody was staking out the area and they stole his bag with his like $6,000 TP9 setup in there. And when I say TP9, I am not talking about a Canic, okay? I'm talking about the sub gun, the TP9, and it was like about $6,000 worth of ish on it. Like, I felt so badly for him, and not only that, guys, like that sucks, right? But Fish is doing okay, right? Like he's not like like starving or anything. But here's the reality of it: let's not just talk about losing a $6,000 setup, right? That sucks. That is, most of us will just say, you know what, I got other guns, I'll rock it out, whatever. But let's think about this. He had to call and pay for the deductible on his insurance to get his window or windows fixed. He had to call the ATF, and you know what the ATF said? Just email us. They don't care unless you are a law-abiding citizen that is not intentionally trying to do harm to others. If you say, "Well, I have this rifle lower and this pistol upper, I'd like to snap them together to see if they work," like they're already there, right? But if you're a dude that's like, "Yo, some criminal stole my registered SBR," they're like, "Send us an email." And to the Wichita police, he's like, "Hey, are you guys going to dust for prints?" They're like, "No, we're never going to find these guys." Like, bro, are you serious?
Damn right, you're never gonna find these guys with that attitude.
Yeah, not with that attitude, right?
Look, the whole thing is eventually, because you said the guy he was leaning. There's prints. There's obvious prints of the guy like putting his face to the windshield.
So no, that was on Dude Knowledge's car vehicle. So they were about to smash his stuff, but they think someone spooked them, and then they bounced with the one gun. There was also like 5 other guns in Fish's car that they did not get. So if they had another like 30 seconds, they could have cleared him out, bro. Thank you, Eric Stockbridge. He got the other the Definition Knives shirt as well, which I think I made corrections to the location of the DK logo and I don't know if something was
mine
going
was
on.
fine.
Yeah, mine was like a hair off, but the problem was that they were all different. So like
are
Eric
we gonna wear the
Stockbridge was
DK
different.
knife shirts Friday night, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yes, we're gonna smell like hot trash. So look, I
think Friday'd be better because Saturday, if I'm gonna be shooting and stuff like that, white shirt's not good for shooting.
Yeah, Kurt said his was a hair off too. It was like every single one of them was different. That's the problem. Look, I'm thinking about it. I know all of us have problems. All of us have like, trust me, like, my life is falling apart right now, but I would really like to find a way to do something for Fish to help him because that's not fair, man. And he was victimized, and a lot of people are like, yeah, but like Fish has got like 100 guns, like like some of us do. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that he was wrong. He was wronged. He was victimized, and I know what it's like to have somebody do something terrible with something that was either yours or came from you, and that's not a good thing to have on. He was saying like, man, like what if like some type of like act of terrorism happens with that? He's like that, like that's the way he's thinking, and I feel bad. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, the viewers.
I guess the thing is probably the dude that stole it sold it for drugs for $200 worth of drugs.
For a tax stamp worth of drugs. Dude, they probably were like, hey, check out this laser. Oh, it doesn't work. Like, no, that's IR, you fucking idiot. Oh, man, this flashlight, it sucks. I only see a little bit of purple. They're probably accidentally giving themselves LASIK right now, looking at the thing,
Oh, shoot.
Which is hilarious.
Well, all right. So I'm not saying this to say I told you so. Oh, amen. You're right. Right, Rod. His insurance company is going to do crap.
Dude, and look at this.
Look at what a good guy.
Big Fish says you don't have to do that. Everyone just buy the bird shot from Definition Knives and
Wow.
Turkeys.
Wow. That's
So
very kind of you, man.
That's awesome. But I'd like to find a way to do something. B&T said basically will like dramatically cut down the cost of a new TP9 for you and give you a link with like specialty price just for you because of what happened.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty baller of him. Now,
Well, he's also the
you've-
only person in the world actually like using a TP9 in real life. So that's probably why.
So you've talked about using an AirTag on the guns. You know, have an AirTag thing. I got an AirTag on my dog because my dog bolts every once in a while. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what the problem. So AirTag kind of works.
Mhm.
But what you need to do is you need to take the speaker out of the AirTag because it'll dox itself after a while.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
yes, just to clear this up. Dramatically is dramatically and drastically all merged into one. Just like I say, what's the automagically? Like that's automatically and magically at the same time. People like 10 people left. They're like, can we just watch the in debate, bro? Oh, I wonder if they left it an hour because they're like, all right, we'll let him ramble on for an hour and see if he doesn't turn it back on until after an hour. Oh, sorry.
So the problem, I'm talking from firsthand experience. Somebody stole my daughter's scooter. Not only did they steal it, we knew where it was because it had an AirTag.
Mhm.
And the cops are like, "Oh, we'll get it back."
Yeah,
And I'm like, I was ready to go to hit Babyface P up for some nods, and he's like, "Dude, I would have went with you." Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'd be all into going for that."
Oh,
we knew exactly where the scooter was, but after a couple of days, it says, "Hey, you might be being stalked by somebody."
Good night, G23. So hold on. So what does the speaker start booping?
Yes.
When?
It doesn't matter when. You need to take the speaker out. It'll so the dog, I'll be just sitting there, and then all of a sudden I go teety teety teety.
So here's what. I think that's a good idea to take the speaker out, but it's also a tool that you could use to recover things. So, but here's why I say that.
It's not low battery. It'll alert every once in a while that if it thinks it's being used for stalking, because if the person who has the AirTag isn't around it.
I saw something about that in the stalking thing. If you read the manual, it says something along those lines because somebody could just walk up on a car and throw an AirTag in there and then follow them home or something like that. But like it's also if I park my car and walk away from it, it's like boop, you have left the area of your sack. Because I got an AirTag in my sack because usually I'll have a gun in there or right now I don't have a gun in there because I just want to carry it on my person. But like so the way I see an AirTag isn't like a long-term solution for if someone steals something. If you can't use it almost immediately to try to recover your item, then they're going to find it very quickly. Or they're going to walk over to the item that they stole with their phone and search it for an AirTag because you can search for devices that are around you and pick up that AirTag. Even if the speaker is out, you could pick up an AirTag. So what I did is on my Geisley Super Duty, I took the Picatinny Strike Industries AirTag holder and I put the AirTag holder right over where a rear sight would usually be under a scope. So I got the 14.5 Geisley Super Duty, the 40 millimeter green one, and I have a 1:6 LPVO on it. Usually people mount rear sights, folding rear sights under the scope, right, in that rear area, right? So I mounted it there, and the way that I'm thinking is that like if I would be alerted immediately once it's out of like 20 to 30 feet from me if it's no longer in that area or if it's moving and I'm not. And the only thing that I think it would help for is preventing a successful theft. If a successful theft occurred, it's like it's probably almost useless.
So the other thing that you should think about is my the comma AI system records the interior of the car. And so that both cameras are recording, and there's other vehicles like Teslas do that. There's a security mode. So you could, and I'm not saying you have to get something like that. You could get a, whatever cam. What do they call it for the car?
Dash cam.
Dash cam. Thank you. Yeah, you get a dash cam that has a front and rear, and that has a security mode that'll record while your car is parked.
Dude, do you see this? DJK says that happened to my stepmom. She had a new TRD Pro Tundra, and someone put one of the cube tags in the bumper. A car detailer found it. Well, the first thing I would do is
first off, now we know Detective John Kimball's stepmom is hot.
Dude, I cannot believe that was the first thing you thought of. I was gonna say the first person that I would question is the detailer. Like somebody probably saw him checking on his device that he put in there, and he's like, "Oh, look what I found!" Like that's sketchy. In the bumper, why were you detailing the bumper, bro? Like that's super sketch. Anyway,
it takes the next beepers.
Yeah, for real. Ow. All right, let's do this. I'm going to pull this up and we are going to do the do. Is there anything else you want to say first? Everything on definitionknives.com is wrong. You can't order anything, and the shipping is wrong. Aside
So
from
is this not a soft launch? It's like a something launch, a sideways launch.
This is like a super low-key viewer-only launch, to where you guys just know you can go up and look at the knives and you won't even be able to see accurate information on the models. Because it doesn't say, like, I basically took and copied and pasted a bunch of stuff that's all incorrect, but you guys are doing great. All right, let's do this.
Of violence. The gross majority, close to 90%, and some of the statistics I've seen, of the gun violence in this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms. And while we're on that topic, we know that thanks to Kamala Harris's open border, we've seen a massive influx in the number of illegal guns run by the Mexican drug cartel. So that number, the amount of illegal guns in our country is higher today than it was 3.5 years ago.
Like a brilliant
but
boxer.
what do we do about
he moves so that Walls is going to have to move his body, so he opens up a shop. He just moved it to border.
Because I don't want my kids to go to school in a school that feels unsafe or where there are visible signs of security. But I unfortunately think that we have to increase security in our schools. We have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors stronger. We've got to make the windows stronger. And of course, we've got to increase school resource officers, because the idea that we can magically wave a wand and take guns out of the hands of bad guys, it just doesn't fit with recent experience. So we've got to make our schools safer. And I think we've got to have some common sense bipartisan solutions for how to do that.
Look, Rich, what has ended nearly every single
good guy with a gun
mass tragic event ever? A gun.
And if the Democrats didn't make schools gun-free zones where they knew dead bodies of kids would be the best way to convince people to turn in their guns, none of this crap would be going on.
What other gun-free zones do you know of? Are
prisons?
Yeah, and I'm sure they never have any problems, right?
No. Nobody ever smuggles a gun into a prison.
Definitionknives.atf. Glow. Dude, is that available? Can we get that?
Can we get the .atf?
Well, and honestly, sometimes not even a good guy with a gun, because the reality is that when I say a gun ends almost all mass tragic events like that, sometimes the shooter self-deletes. Sometimes, it's just somebody pointing guns at them. Sometimes, like, look, in certain situations, I won't mention any particular schools where there was massive failures of dozens and dozens of men with guns who didn't do a damn thing, and they were complicit in the murder of even not just the killing, but the dying, right? They were complicit in the dying. Man, I just couldn't imagine that. But in most cases, Almost every single mass tragic event is ended by a gun, either the hand of the shooter or the hand of some good guy with a gun pointing a gun at him, discharging a firearm at him, whatever, or police coming and neutralizing the shooter. So there's absolutely no way at all for anyone to argue that less guns around soft targets is a good thing. It's impossible. And I'm not saying that, well, we need to arm every single teacher. I'm saying that teachers should have the option to be armed.
Amen.
Even if there's one teacher at every school, if there is one teacher at every single school that chooses to be armed, that's it. If they choose to. I'm not saying every single, I don't believe every person should be armed. Hey, Bob Masavo. What's up, Tim Harper? Great to see you, Chinamemba. But give them the option to. Don't strip them of their God-given right of self-preservation. Don't strip them of the ability to preserve other innocent life in the children that they're there to, to. It's just it's such an intellectually dishonest argument. It drives me nuts.
Okay. Kurt24 just said this.
Hold on, I can't see. Hold on. Oh, yeet. Dang. Fact check. All right, let's do this.
Well, I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you. As a member of Congress, I sat in my office surrounded by dozens of the Sandy Hook parents, and they were looking at my 7-year-old picture on the wall. Their 7-year-old were dead, and they were asking us to do something. And look, I'm a hunter. I own firearms. The vice president is. We understand that the Second Amendment
such significant bullshit.
Is there, but our first responsibility is to our kids to figure this out. In Minnesota,
is there. Did you hear that shit? We understand that the Second Amendment is there, but
we've enacted enhanced red flag laws, enhanced background checks. And we can start.
Yeah,
to get
and
data,
ERPOs are completely
if we really
illegal.
Want to solve this, we've got folks that won't allow research to be even done on gun violence.
Bullshit.
And this
guys,
idea
bring that up. We fact checked
Man
that.
against the masses, bro. Great to
they wanted
see
to
you, man.
selectively research gun violence. These are the same people, by the way, who stopped recording
our resident meme artist.
In the case of a perpetrated crime against them, the race of the victim, but only the race of the actual assailant.
But that's not far enough when we know there are things that work.
They wanted to discount the 500,000 to 3 million defensive uses of firearms each year.
They don't have this happen, even though they have a high gun ownership rate in the country. There are reasonable things that we can do to make a difference. It's not infringing on your Second Amendment.
He does hunt.
And the
Yes,
idea
it is.
to
Little
have
boys.
Some of these weapons out there, it just doesn't make any
ones you
sense.
carried in war?
Kamala Harris, as an attorney general, worked on this issue. She knows that it's there. No one's trying to scaremonger and say we're taking your guns, but I ask all of you
Except she literally said we're taking your guns. Bring it up in the fact check at the end of the show. Mission Control.
Is that what we have to go when we know there's countries around the world that their children aren't practicing these types of drills? They're being kids. We owe it to them to get a fix. These aren't things that shouldn't be that difficult.
There's so much to unpack.
Yeah, but this is their thing. What they do is they throw out 12 lies in one sentence. So it's almost impossible to pick it down,
Well, the psychobabble that he's going for is pretty unbelievable. It's amazing to me that what it's not that we have guns and the guns cause the shootings. And AR-15s, like we all know, are responsible for less than 400 deaths a year.
Yeah.
Now that's all long guns.
Well, at least last year. That's 100%.
So all long guns if you can check any 5-year period, typically about 400 deaths a year, all long guns. So rifles, shotguns, AR-15s.
2023 was like 372 or something like that. Wired Tight, Douglas Boeing, Lightning McQueen. Good to see you guys.
So
go ahead.
Getting rid of an AR-15 does nothing for anyone. Period.
No, and this is the issue. So 86% of those 372 deaths were handguns, and the massive chunk of deaths of children and young teens, right? We're talking like, you know,
Gangbangers?
13 or 15 to
Gangbangers?
19.
Why do they go to
right?
19 on the statistic instead
Yeah.
of end it at 18?
You know, it's
So
funny. I
there's a
wonder
whole
why.
lot to unpack here, and one of my favorite statistics is that you used to be able to order a Thompson submachine gun fully automatic to your home from the Sears catalog, and none of this crap was going on.
Yeah, it's almost like they weren't trying to use it to push their agenda back then. And trust, there was a lot of terrible things going on back then, but we're not talking about what guys, if you have to look at what's going on and in the pit of your stomach know that it's a possibility that your government is encouraging terrible things to happen or pulling the strings on terrible things, that is a terrifying thing to just sit on that for a moment.
Still keep your firearms, and we can make a difference. We have to. If you're listening tonight, this breaks your heart.
Senator.
What about the
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your
110,000
17-year-old shooting.
fentanyl
I'm sorry
deaths?
about that, and I hope you're doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful, and I appreciate what Tim said actually about Finland, because I do think it illustrates some of the frankly weird differences between our own country's gun violence problem.
Rudy Finney, brother, great to see you.
And Finland is okay. First of all, we have way higher rates of mental health abuse,
Absolutely.
or mental health substance abuse. We have way higher rates.
100%. Rudy Finney says, I wish Vance would have fact-checked the youth deaths. The #1 killer of children is, in fact, abortion. Today we were talking, man, abortion is demonic. And you know what? We'll talk on that after this. Thank you, Rudy. Great to see you.
Rates of depression, way higher rates of anxiety. We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get to the root causes of, because I don't think it's the whole reason why we have such a bad gun violence problem, but I do think it's a big piece of it. Another driver of the gun violence epidemic, especially that affecting our kids, it doesn't earn as many headlines, but is the terrible gun violence problem in a lot of our big cities. And this is why we have to empower law enforcement to arrest the bad guys, put them away, and take gun offenders off the streets. I think there's a whole host of things that we can do here, but I do think at our schools, we've got to talk about more security.
Senator, thank you. Governor,
17
you
and
previously
under,
opposed an assault weapons
kids.
ban,
And hold on.
Motor
but
vehicle
then
deaths,
only
number
later
one.
in your political
14 and under,
career did you
disease,
change your
traffic
position.
accidents,
Why?
cancers, and
That
congenital
officer told
issues.
San Diego parents.
So, okay. Clearly, we can look at, if you want to become unburdened by what has been, what you could do is simply just look at where these tactics have been utilized. And let's say, okay, well, let's look at California. I'm
Okay.
sure that has reduced the amount of firearm fatalities. Let's look at, Baltimore. Let's look at
Why
New
is
York.
Chicago a problem? They have like very
Chicago.
strict gun laws.
Extremely strict. And there have been more machine guns, what do you call
Switches?
it? Procured like by law enforcement.
Walt.
What?
Walt, say it with me. Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles. Come on, Walt, say it.
Hey, shout out to whoever just placed an order on DLD hardware. Appreciate you. Chicago, right? Like that, we can look at this and we know with certainty that it doesn't matter, because guess what? Murder was illegal on every single day that these terrible things were perpetrated, right? Like there is no way that you can tell me that somebody that is willing to commit the ultimate sin and the ultimate crime, that they would stop in any moment. Well, we just want to make them a little bit less available. How?
Right, before you go back to the video, I want to read something from the news right now. During the CBS News vice presidential debate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz shared that his 17-year-old son, Gus Walz, had witnessed a shooting while playing volleyball at a community center.
I was actually going to call bullshit on that, by the way.
Responding to the same, J.D. Vance said, Tim, I didn't know that your 17-year-old son witnessed a shooting. I'm sorry about that, and I hope he's doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful. MAGA reactions. So this isn't a right-wing source I'm reading. Many MAGA supporters are skeptical of the claim, arguing that there's no evidence or media coverage to support it. I guarantee you, they're quoting a MAGA person. I guarantee you, Tim's son did not witness a shooting. Waltz would have milked that story to the media for years. There's no record of it. It's another lie. One person wrote on X. Another added, so now Tim Waltz wants us to believe that his son witnessed a shooting at a community center. Why is there zero information about the supposed shooting?
They would have absolutely milked every second of that, unless this was years ago, right? And I would be curious to know if that shooting in that community center, if it was a gun-free zone, or maybe someone just drew a gun, presented a gun, or whatever it was.
Here it goes. What we know about the shooting: Gus Waltz is a student at Central High School in January 2023. Students from the high school witnessed a shooting at St. Paul's Jimmy's Recreation Center, which I don't know where that is or what that has to do with Central High School. An argument between a 16-year-old boy and an employee outside the center escalated when the worker shot the boy in the head and fled the scene. The shooter, identified as whoever, was charged with second-degree attempted murder and first-degree assault. The victim was left in critical condition fighting for his life. Get the news live, blah. All right, so I don't know. It doesn't mention volleyball, did it? It mentioned a recreation center.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his school. So I don't know.
Interesting. Unburdened with what has been is the same damn thing as above, so below. She even does one hand up and the other hand down. Same as Baphomet, straight demonic.
How?
Dude, I didn't even.
Gives me chills, man.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here making fun of her. I'm not thinking of the other implied things there. Yeah, but
So I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA.
NRA
got
what?
You become friends with school shooters?
What? Thank you, Governor. You previously opposed
one another. Let's argue
saved
about ideas
by the mediators
every weekday morning. If you're in Mud Club, we can't. It's off one.
You know, the reinsurance regulations is what I was talking about. Better. We have to make the doors stronger. We've got to make your heart.
Senator.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting.
It's just the guns. He maybe just lost the. It's no one's really concerned about that. They're just talking about violent crime.
Sorry, guys.
In Minneapolis, we should look at all of the issues, making sure folks have health care and all that. But I want to be very careful. This idea of stigmatizing mental health, just because you have a mental health issue, doesn't mean you're violent. And I think what we end up doing
you support red flag laws, dummy.
That's exactly what red flag laws
is. Guns. It's just the guns, and there are things
not
that you
just
can
the guns.
do.
Holy shit! He just lost. He just maybe lost the election. It's just the guns. He maybe just lost the. It's the single losingest issue for Democrats across this country.
If it's
and he
just
couldn't
the
have given
guns,
a worse answer.
I'm
Clip
in
that.
danger.
It's just the guns.
Yep.
Let's turn now
It's
to the
just
top
the
contributor
guns.
to inflation.
The stupidest,
promises mandatory government
the
plan for
absolute
buyback of
stupidest
guns.
thing he could have ever
4 million
said.
homes in the United States, and that contributes to the high housing prices. Governor Walz,
What was the
Harris
become
campaign
friends with school
promises a
shooters thing?
$25,000 down payment
think he meant
assistance
to
for
say,
first-time home buyers.
victims of school. I become friends with victims of school shooters.
I think differently. I think what he was actually saying is, because I may have missed it when I went to the mental health thing. I think what he was saying is that we should become friends with people that, and like, you know, that
So
could
they don't shoot up
potentially,
schools?
yeah, that could potentially keep people from carrying out tragic things. Let me see. I want to see what he said.
Take gun offenders off the streets. I think there's a whole host of things that we can do here. But I do think at our schools, we've got to talk about more security.
Senator, thank you. Governor,
17
you
and under,
previously opposed an assault weapons
kids,
ban,
motor
but
vehicle deaths,
only
number
later
one,
in your political
14 and
career.
under, disease, traffic accidents, cancer.
Yeah, we need a ban
congenital
cars
issues.
because there were
I've become
1,700.
friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA. NRA got for a long
You
time.
become
They
friends
used
with
to
school
teach gun
shooters?
safety.
What?
Damn
I'm
it!
of
I
an
was
age
running
where
my mouth.
My shotgun of the gun violence epidemic, especially
No one's really concerned.
of the gun violence epidemic, especially of the gun
accidents, cancers, and congenital issues.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA.
Shooters?
NRA got for a
What?
long
You
time.
become
They used
friends
to
with
teach
school
gun
shooters?
safety.
What?
I'm of an age where My shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice. That's not where we live today.
Why not?
And several things I want to mention on this is
Why not? Yeah.
talking about cities and where it's at. The number one where the most firearm deaths happen in Minnesota are rural
He's
suicides.
become friends with school
And we have an
shooters, correct?
epidemic
But
of
no one's
children
really
getting
concerned
guns
about
and
that. They're
shooting.
just talking about violent
And
crime.
Homicide.
Yeah.
We have, and we
Minneapolis?
should look at all of the issues. Making sure folks have health care and all that, but I want to be very careful.
And all
This
that.
idea of stigmatizing mental health, just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean you're violent. And I think what we end
But
up
you
doing is we
support red
start
flag
looking for
laws,
a
dummy.
scapegoat.
That's exactly
Sometimes
what
it
red flag
just
law
is
was.
the guns. It's
This-
just the guns. And there are
It's
things
not
that you
just the
can do.
guns. Holy
But I
shit.
do think that
He
this
just
is
lost.
one-
He just
and I
maybe
think this
lost
is
the
a
election. It's
conversation.
just the guns.
I think there's
He
a
maybe just lost the.
path
It's a single.
See, I don't think here's the deal. I don't think that he actually was even trying to make a point. I think he was just running his mouth because he was like, it's just the guns and there's the things, that you can do. And like, what? It's just the guns and there's like, things that you can do. What things?
Single losingest issue for Democrats across this country, and he couldn't have given a worse answer. Clip that.
Thank you,
It's
Margaret.
just the
Thank you, Nora.
guns.
Let's turn now to the top contributor to inflation.
By the way,
The high
2019,
cost
Kamala
of
Harris
housing
promises
and
mandatory
rent.
government plan for
There's a
buyback of
shortage
guns.
of more than 4 million homes in the United States, and that contributes to the high housing prices. Governor Walz, the Harris
Let me just say this, okay? If we are put in a situation, I do not have any faith that we're going to have a fair and free situation, okay? I do not have any faith in any leadership, and even if things end in our favor, I think things are going to be worse in the general public than they'd ever been, right? Even if our lives become easier for that 4-year term, I think they are going to make our lives such living hell that it's going to be brutal. So no matter what, the next 4 years are going to be likely incredibly difficult. I will say this though, if it comes to the point where things do not end in our favor and we are looking at a quote mandatory buyback, which is something, it's such nonsense, it doesn't exist. You can't buy back something that you did not sell to someone. You can't, it's absolute horseshit. It is a firearm confiscation. If there is any form of a national confiscation, a national assault weapons ban, any type of overt infringement on our natural rights, my line is in the sand right then and there, no question, and I'm ready to give it all
Tim
to it.
Walz
I don't give
says,
a anymore.
we could do things and preserve the Second Amendment. That
How
it wouldn't
so?
be against the Well, all right.
How,
so
Sway?
help me out. I'm
Shall
pretty
not be
sure.
infringed.
I'm pretty sure you and I have the same version of the Second Amendment in our brains.
Yes.
That means any weapon that it gives us the right to keep and bear arms. Any freaking arm.
Any tool that can be used to defend oneself.
And if fully automatic laser beams become a thing, or photons or blasters or lightsabers, yes, that too.
The thing is what their version of like the moment, and we have thousands like
their idea of not violating the Second Amendment is, yes, you can keep your bolt action hunting gun.
Yeah, no, yeah, we don't do that yet. No,
my idea of the Second Amendment is anything your imagination dreams of, enjoy.
Yeah,
that's my version.
Now we also know that we have to acknowledge the world that we live in, so that's why we don't.
JC9, you're not supposed to talk about the Jewish space lasers. I told you that in confidence. You're not supposed to talk about that.
That's why we don't drill third holes in our lowers, and that's why we don't illegally make machine guns, because we understand that, albeit pure tyranny, they have made those items illegal, so we don't break the law, because this is what they do. They use, the fear of death and incarceration as leverage against us to keep us from committing acts that they don't want. So they say machine guns are illegal. We're not allowed to have machine guns. They
Look,
say
if the penalty of having a machine gun was $100 fine, I'd have a machine gun. Fuck
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But it's not. The penalty for having a machine gun illegally is losing my right ever to have a firearm again. I'm not going there.
Yeah. I think it's insane that they think that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people
to keep and bear arms
shall
shall
not be infringed. That's it. There's nothing shall not be infringed. So the 30,000+ gun laws that are already on the books are all illegal and should all be null and void.
Amen. Thank you, Bruin.
The fact that we're having this conversation is insanity. The fact that
I particularly dislike the lady.
Yeah, Pinky. The fact that we are we're talking about pushing shit even further is insane. I'm already at the point where I'm like, dude, take anything else and it's on, because like, look at California. Look how far California has gone. Like, that is absolute insanity. That's not helping anyone. That's not helping anything. People are going to do bad shit. And
I was going to point to my 50 cal, but I don't have a 50 cal there. So the California made 50 BMG illegal.
So gay. So gay.
And somebody tell me how many 50 BMG deaths there are a year.
Probably the closest thing to zero that we could find from, I mean, I'm sure probably somebody was hit by like a muzzle loader that was, 12.7.
But that's why I said 50 BMG.
Oh, 50 BMG. Yeah.
This campaign promises a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers
to increase the cost of homes by
and a
$25,000.
$10,000 tax credit. They also promise
$35,000.
to build 3 million new homes. Where are you building these homes, and won't handing out
like
that
the
kind of
recharging
money
stations.
drive up prices
Yeah, just
higher?
like those recharging
Neil,
stations.
First, let me say this issue of housing.
No.
And I think those of you.
Which, just so you guys know, what we're talking about is
$8 billion.
Yeah.
To build recharging stations.
Yeah, the Joe Biden, or I'm sorry, the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration got a grant, I guess. Congress awarded them $8 billion for
$8 billion.
For EV charging stations to put them all over the United States. And how many did they install in the United States, Rich?
3.
Oh, I thought it was 2.
Yeah, it might be 2.5. Who the hell knows?
2 or 3, right?
Dude, you give me $8 billion, I'm going to the moon.
I
got a moon program.
The problem with what we're seeing here is we're seeing people say give as much latitude to the government as possible. What we need to eliminate much latitude.
Do you know what
that
the federal
government
government
has
should
as
be
possible.
doing? I know what the federal government should be doing.
They don't give a shit about that. They take an oath to that. They don't care.
So one beef I had about the JD Vance is he didn't discuss abortion being not in the Constitution. It's not a right guaranteed by the Constitution. That's a states' rights issue. That's where the issue legally belongs.
Tim Walz literally argued against his own point like an idiot. He didn't even understand it. He was like basically saying that honestly, it doesn't even matter, but like he's so stupid. He's arguing against himself, right? He's saying that since Roe v. Wade was overturned, someone's going to get a different service in this place than they do in this place. Yeah, that's what giving it to the states look like. And
that's why I'm not adverse to Colorado having recreational marijuana. See how it works. Maybe it's a good idea. I don't know.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't care.
I don't want it in Florida.
That is not a natural right that is given to you by your God that you swore you swore to uphold. But also look at these people. They also took an oath in front of God for their marriages. They don't give a shit about that. They also their job is to protect, the general public and children, and they don't give a shit about that. These are all serial liars and people that are literally just on a stage acting, pretending to do whatever they can to get as much money and power as possible.
You listening on this. The problem we've had is that we've got a lot of folks that see housing as another commodity. It can be bought up, it can be shifted, it can be moved around. Those are not folks living in those.
And by the way, don't let them lie to you. That $25,000, who's that going to come from? You're paying for that. All the money that you work hard for, you're paying.
Dude, I went to community college, and my college was like $400 a semester. My daughter, her grandfather prepaid, did Florida prepay. Her college was paid for. Why the flock? And I don't get me wrong, I'm like the last guy to get a big screen TV. Everybody I know that had a big screen TV before me didn't own their house, was on every form of assistance, was, they were milking the effing system. They had a better car than me. They had, nicer-ish in their rented house that they didn't own. And I'm like, so because other people make bad life decisions, I've got to pay for their college?
Yep.
I'm like,
that's
no.
absurd. And they can't get that shit passed either.
Those houses. Those of you listening tonight, that house is a big deal. I bought and owned one house in my life. My mom still lives in the house where
What
I
about the
was.
stable?
And when I think of a house, I'm thinking of Christmas services after midnight mass.
What the
where you
hell
go
does
with your
that mean?
family. We need to make it more affordable. And one of the things, as I said, this program that the vice president is
Yeah, but they became less affordable under your girl's administration.
All right. Here's what's terrifying to me is my house I bought was $465. I put down 20% on it. I totally financially effed myself because I had no money. My wife and I, we raided our 401ks and whatever to get the money and paid like 30% penalties on that to get the house.
Yeah.
Which was the best financial move I ever made. The house is now worth $1.1 million, if you believe Zillow. But here's the terrifying thing. One, I can't eat or drink the house or anything like that. That's not going to happen. And my daughter, who's 22, how is she ever going to be able to afford a house? You hope that your kid does better than you. I bought the house for my father for $150, which I sold for $500. Just in my lifetime, the price of homes is freaking nutso.
Y'all are effed. I saw the design.
Ouch. Ouch. Oh, I don't know if Crump's talking about a specific event he attended and shared photos of.
I don't know. The design of what? Oh, for the build contest. Oh,
for the build contest. Oh,
you're gonna do.
Great. His design. I thought he meant the government's design.
I was like, dude, if we want to get.
What do you mean? This isn't the winner? This isn't the winner,
dude. Just wait.
Dinner?
Remember, I'm the only one that I have not said what caliber I'm doing, the length I'm doing, the concept.
No,
I'm doing.
there's still. Between the gold plating and Inconel plating and all of the Cerakote and Hydro Dip and
I hope you
acid washing and
I hope you Inconel plate your gun. All right, back to the show.
pushing forward and bringing a new way of approaching this is something we're
With
doing
you
in
paying for
Minnesota
it.
from that lead. We in the state invested in making sure our housing was the biggest investment that we'd ever made in housing.
Also,
It
0
starts
degree
to make it
temperatures are,
easier. We cut some of the red tape.
managing
Local folks, look, we can't do it at the federal level, but local folks make it easier to build those homes. And then that down payment assistance. I can tell all of you out there, one of the, certainly for me, using the GI Bill was one thing, but a veteran's home loan, the big thing about a veteran's home loan is you don't have to pay the down payment. Those are things that make it there. Now, look, you're going to pay it
Learn
back,
that.
and you're going to pay your mortgage. Those are things that we know in the long run, the appreciated value the generational wealth that's created from it. And I will give Minneapolis an example. Minneapolis is the one.
Yeah, but the VA loan has absolutely nothing to do with what he's talking about. If they're talking about taking taxpayer money and utilizing that to supplement $25,000 of down payments on houses that are way too, like, remarkably expensive, that
But
just, it doesn't make
what
sense.
they're not
There's no
talking
way.
about is the Kamala Harris, and this is devastating. You want to talk about tearing apart the economy? First off,
Yeah, that's what I was getting to, is that this would actually worsen the economy. This would be terrible for inflation because the money comes from you, and then it makes everything else more expensive, and then that $25,000 is all of a sudden worth $12,500. You know,
all
it's
right, we got a preview of Crump's design for his gun.
wow.
No, what I was getting at is the taxing of unrealized capital gains. So my house doubled in value. Now the market could crash, and they're going to want to tax me on an unrealized capital gain,
Meaning money that you've accrued through equity but not have actually taken out.
Or also, why would I invest in the stock market if the stock goes up and down and I get taxed when it goes up? What happens when it goes down again? Why would I invest in the stock market?
Yep.
I'm going to pull my money out. I'm going to throw my money, under my frickin' mattress.
They want the $25K down payment so their big financial institutions can sell off their robo-buys they overpaid for during the pandemic. Dude, I honestly think that they don't want us to own property and have generational wealth. What they want is a bunch of dromers that are renters that don't own anything and that work in assembly lines. And I see the world just perishing under them. Everything is becoming more expensive, and what they're doing is saying to a solution to that would be giving you $25,000 of your money back for free that we'll take from you in the future.
Well, how about you just don't tax me in the first place?
I think taxes are immoral.
Look, I live on a dirt freaking road, and the taxes on my house are over $6,000 a year. You know that?
Oh, look, this is exact. Bamasabo says Biden's $7.5 billion EV charging stations program, which promised 500,000 installations, still has over 499,990 to go after 3 years. American Energy Alliance, June 2024. Dang. So you're telling me they actually installed 10 EV stations now? That's incredible. All right.
I
City where we've seen the.
I lived in Minnesota. In the neighborhood, George Floyd's friends burned down for like 6 months, and finding a place to live in Minnesota, now that was like 10 years ago, was a frickin' train wreck. Out of all of the places when I was doing on-site consulting, the Minneapolis, I should say properly, was the worst place to find a place to stay.
Yeah. It's a terrible place. Sorry, guys.
Lowest inflation rates. We've seen a 12%
Okay,
increase.
you know what?
in stock
I'll give him this
because
one.
we
How about
put
this?
some of these
You serve
things
your
in,
country?
and
All
we're
right, you don't have to make a down payment.
You
earn it.
program to make sure we
It's
get
not
some of
free.
that
I don't
down
think you
payment
should have to.
assistance. We give
Serve
it
your
back
country?
to people.
All right. Oh, wait, no, wait.
Here's
That's
the
already
thing.
policy.
People
I have
with
to use the
stable
bathroom.
housing end up with stable jobs. People with stable housing have their kids able to get to school.
But also, I'm sorry. The point that I was trying to make earlier was that him saying that this $25,000 down payment bailout for people buying homes in the future is akin to a VA loan is a lie. It is misleading, and he's basically saying that there's a vanishing down payment, which is not true. It is fake. It is fraudulent. And even if you do put zero money down, which there are a lot of home loan products that you can do that. You can get have zero down payment, but all of that obviously is you pay for that in your monthly payment being higher. It is not a zero down, and a lot of those programs have restrictions on how much you can make and all that stuff. But the way he is trying to paint this is completely disingenuous, and it is 100% incorrect, and he's lying, and it frustrates me so much.
All of those things in the long run end up saving our money. And that's the thing that I think we should be able to find some common ground in, but we can't blame immigrants for the only reason. That's not the case that's happening in many cities.
Supply and demand.
Lowering inventory. The economy and immigrants and
lowering inventory.
It all has to do with it.
Make sure that the government's there to help kickstart it, create that base.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance,
with your money.
As far as your campaign's position, the promise is to seize federal lands to build homes, remove regulation, provide tax breaks, and cut back on immigration, which you say pushes up prices. Where are you going to build all the new homes you're promising, and what part of any of this plan will provide immediate relief?
It is at least equal to.
First of all, Tim just said something that I agree.
100%. This is factually proven. It is at least equal to the carbon emissions, if not greater, to run the diesel generators to make electric vehicles. That there's nothing friendly about it to the environment.
Agree with. We don't want to blame immigrants for higher housing prices, but we do want to blame Kamala Harris for letting in millions of illegal aliens.
Did you see that look? It's like,
which does drive up costs, Tim. 25 million illegal aliens competing with Americans for scarce homes is one of the most significant drivers of home prices in the country. It's why we have massive increases in home prices that have happened right alongside massive increases in illegal alien
Look how pissed he is. He completely turned sideways.
Leadership. Now, Tim just mentioned a bunch of ideas.
And it's like, this is the point where if he had a gun, he would have shot him.
I disagree with, but the most important thing here is Kamala Harris is not running as a newcomer to politics. She is the sitting vice president. If she wants to enact all of these policies to make housing more affordable, I invite her to use the office that the American people already gave her, not sit around and campaign and do nothing while Americans find the American dream of homeownership completely unaffordable. Now, you asked, Margaret,
that's a good question.
Immediately change the equation for American citizens if you lower energy prices. As Donald Trump says, drill baby drill. One of the biggest drivers of housing costs aside from illegal immigration is, think about it, if a truck driver is paying 40% more for diesel, then the lumber he's delivering to the job site to build the house is also going to become a lot more expensive.
Exactly.
If we open up American energy, you will get immediate pricing relief for American citizens, not, by the way, just in housing, but in a whole host of other economic goods too.
That's a good answer.
Senator Vance, you still have 23 seconds there. Do you want to answer?
Bitch, I don't need him.
Governor, we will get to you in a moment. But Senator, where are you going to
He
seize
said,
the
"Bitch, I
federal
don't need it."
lands? Can you clarify?
Well, what Donald Trump has said is we have a lot of federal lands that aren't being used for anything. They're not being used for national park. They're not being used, and they could be places where we build a lot of housing. And I do think that we should be opening up building in this country. We have a lot of land that could be used. We have a lot of Americans that need
Tim Walz's lips get
Facts.
drier
House
over
prices
the
will
course of
just
this
go up
debate.
25K. What's up, Vulcan Rumble? Was there a message
Looks like a
today?
shrunken head.
To be here.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, I do want to let you respond to the allegation that the vice president is letting in.
Black Diamond Guns Gear, what up? He's smart. He's dumb.
I'll check.
Tampon Timmy.
Crossings are down compared to when Donald Trump left office, but it's again blaming and not trying to find the solution. I was going to ask, though, on this question, are we going to drill and build houses in the same federal land? And I think when people hear federal lands, these are really important pieces of land. Now, Minnesota doesn't have a lot of federal lands. I know in the western part of the countries we do.
That's because the pirates took them all.
Federal lands
He's
in
not
and around
saying
Minneapolis,
national
for
parks, you
example.
moron.
So the issue is I don't understand the federal lands issue unless we see this, and I worry about this as someone who cares deeply about our national parks and our federal lands.
Walz is just not doing well.
We protect these things.
Vance is doing a really good job of giving something to Walz that is universally agreeable, where people are going, yeah, it's reasonable. And then Walz is going, well, yeah, but he's done better than I would advise. He didn't take the bait on the gun death stat because he doesn't want to become adversarial with the moderators. He loses the ability to call them out. he becomes adversarial.
He
I
was good at
don't
that.
think I've ever seen someone do a better
he did do a
job than
good
this. The
job.
closest I can remember is Carly Fiorina in the primaries in 2016.
You don't like the economists. Which
Huge
economists
disappointment
are
since then, by the
saying
way.
that it is immigrants that's adding to the cost.
Governor,
Where's
your
the study?
time is
Sorry.
up.
It's not
but
that in
Senator, on
exclusivity,
that
but that is a
point,
big
I'd like
piece of
for
it.
you to clarify, there
Like
are
this
many
is
contributing
so
factors
dishonest.
to high housing
You're
costs.
just
What
blaming
evidence do you
immigrants.
have that migrants are
Supply and demand, economy 101.
There's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually, that really drills down on the
When I interviewed
connection
Trump
between
surrogate and I
levels
said,
of
create a
migration,
website.
especially illegal immigration and higher housing prices. Now, of course, Margaret, that's not the entire driver of higher housing prices. It's also the regulatory regime of Kamala Harris. Look, we are a country.
But also, like, look, let's be. Oh, whoops, is that? Sorry. Let's be honest here. Last year they said something like 20 million people over the last year. 20 million illegal immigrants have come over into the United States. Do you know how many
That's
green
more
cards
than
we
several
issued?
states.
Yes. Do you know how many green cards we issued last year? Over the same course of time that the 20 million illegal immigrants came into our country,
Oh,
do you
a
know how many
million,
green cards?
500,000.
1.9 million for 20 million, and that's not included within that 1.9 million are not included
So
within the 20
John
million.
Crump's cousin living in Italy with a PhD is cleaning houses and is trying to get into this country.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is run across the border. Like Richard Monder in England wants to come into this country and do it legally and can't.
They could right now. They could illegally come here. They could fly to this airport, that airport, this airport, that airport, and come to basically the Mexico
Or you
Arizona
just get
border.
the app. You go to Haiti. You fly into Haiti on vacation. You get the app. You say you're in Haiti, and you just fly in. The government
honestly,
flies you in.
Yeah, you could literally go to whatever the app they mentioned earlier, the CBP dot whatever, and literally fill out the form that says I am here illegally and I'm requesting whatchamacallit? Asylum. And you can put in your information and the card that they give you, and you start getting money deposited into your account. Some people said it's as much as like $3,800 or $5,000 a month. And they think that, like, this is the solution. They're demented.
So a couple of more things before we go on to this. The shooting at the volleyball game that I haven't been able to find any documentation that it was a volleyball game. The shooting was in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So but also the other thing is earlier in the debate, they were talking about the price of gasoline and that under the Harris administration, they're drilling more than ever. Well, if that's true, it's always, again, just like housing, supply and demand. How come, if there's so much supply of gasoline and demand hasn't gone up, why have prices gone up?
Yeah.
We were a net exporter of gasoline under Trump. We are no longer that. That's not so.
Correct. Yep.
We said it's one, but here's another screw up.
But we increasingly have a federal
Can we put up a poll?
administration.
Is this
that
the
makes it
best
harder
debate
to
performance we've
develop
ever seen in our
resources,
lifetime?
Makes it harder to build
Is it me?
things and wants to throw people in
Great
jail
point.
for
Great
not
point.
doing everything exactly as Kamala Harris says.
And that's
they
hard to do
have
because
do.
expectations
And
were
what that
already high.
means is that you have a lot
That's
of people
really
who
hard to
would
do.
love to
Not old
build
enough to remember the
homes who
Clinton
aren't
debates,
able
right?
to
I
build
hear
homes.
he was
Actually agree
great.
with Tim Walz. We
He was
should
very
get
charming.
out of this
I hear
idea
that,
of
yeah.
housing as a commodity. But the thing that has most turned housing into a commodity is
But he's
giving
also
it
against
away
George
to
H.W. Bush
millions
and
upon
Dole.
millions of people who have no legal right to be here.
What are the federal regulations? I deal with this as a governor.
You can very quickly
drink.
reply.
I'm sorry.
Beast mode.
I get this as a governor.
He's doing the same thing that JD did to him.
Don't ask a question you don't know the answer to because JD's going to have an answer.
Many of them are state. I don't know which ones are federal, but I think whenever we talk regulations, people think
Look
they
at
can
the
get
face.
rid of them.
facial
Watch, we're going to try and move on. And
He's
JD said, well, he did ask me a question.
JD's
Watch,
like,
that's what's going
I
to happen.
got
Let's try and move on.
Sure that it's fireproof and
He
those
is
types of things. So
he is
which are the
highly
regulations?
skilled in
Because
communication.
The vice
JD
president's
Vance
not
is.
responsible for those. Congress writes those.
Not my job.
Governor, thank you. Gentlemen,
You were in Congress.
we have a lot to get to. You're passionate about the housing crisis,
Wow.
I can tell. But Nora?
Thank you. One of the top problems
Thank you, I don't
facing
like you.
Americans is the high cost.
I'm telling you, there's tension between these two.
Like wet
The
cardboard.
last presidential debate, former President Trump was
I'll
asked
tell you what,
about
though, if my lady
replacing
looked at me
Wow,
with
that's
the hatred
crazy.
she has for Mrs. Pink,
In
I'd be
response,
harder
he
than a whale's
said,
tooth.
I have concepts of a plan. Since then, Senator, you've
That's
talked
not
about
healthy.
changing
No,
how
she's watching
chronically
the
ill
video, get it.
Americans get health insurance. Can you explain how that would work? And can you guarantee that Americans with pre-existing conditions won't pay more? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Oh, geez.
Well, of course, we're going to cover Americans with pre-existing conditions. In fact, a lot of my family members have gotten health care.
Perfect.
I believe, members of my family actually got private health insurance, at least for the first time, switched off of Medicaid onto private insurance for the first time under Donald Trump's leadership. And I think that, a lot of people have criticized
You know
It's
what?
because one-third of all
I got to
doc-
say this. So a lot of you guys know that my father was in the hospital from May. I think it was around the 8th to the 11th to July 11th, almost 2 months exactly. And he had gone in between, being in the hospital to, things not looking good, to things getting better, to things not looking good, to things getting better, to going into a recovery
facility.
and rehab facility. And
Those are not cheap either.
so my mother just got the first bill just from the hospital, okay, for I don't know how many other bills are going to come, okay, but for people like me that are self-employed, that are running a business, that don't have, like, once my wife and I get divorced, I go off her insurance, I'm gonna have to get my own insurance, right? Unless I leave this country and then come back illegally, then I could get coverage, complete coverage. But the first bill was almost $350,000.
The fudge.
Like, and he passed away July the 11th, so he was in there for about 2 months. And I don't even know what that covers or how many other bills, but like, the price of things is absolute insanity. Insanity. $350,000. Like, that is just nuts. Now I know he was in the STICU. He was in the surgical trauma ICU, and that's a very high level of very close attention by teams of people. But DLD After Dark, we don't actually use our own oil for gasoline. It's suited better for plastics and such. The good oil for gasoline and diesel is Brent crude. We are producing more oil now. But interesting. Yeah, I learned the wells were drilled under Trump and have been fracked now and put online. Yeah, so I learned that plastics has crude oil in it. So if you it's called pyrolysis. If you take plastics and burn them in a still without oxygen, depending on the temperature and the length of time that you burn them, you can actually make diesel, gasoline, kerosene from that process. DLD After Dark, and I bet they cannot give you an itemized bill. Probably not. Like, I haven't seen it. I just talked to my mother today, and she had told me it was like $348,000 or something like that. And honestly, that could have been just for the first day, because he was in for like 3 weeks, and then he left, and then he came back, and then so she may get 3 bills that are all like $350,000.
Do you have any kind of insurance, or what's the scoop?
Yeah. He was under Medicare, and he had a supplemental insurance as well. So I don't know exactly how much that she's having to pay, but we're going to talk. I'm going to get together with her tomorrow. We're going to talk a little more. But it's just crazy. Like, that's the world that we're living in now, right? It's absolute insanity.
Doctors don't even accept Medicare, I believe. I don't know if that was a Florida stat or a national stat, but a huge percentage of doctors
And if it
don't
wasn't
accept
for the
Medicare.
supplemental care, They would have been
standing on a
totally
debate
hosed.
stage. It would bore
Mission
everybody
Control,
to
bring that
tears.
up.
And it wouldn't actually mean anything because part of this is the give and take of bipartisan negotiation. Now, when Donald Trump was actually president, and again, he has a record to be proud of, prescription drugs fell in 2018 for the first time in a very long time. Under Kamala Harris's leadership, prescription drugs are up about 7%.
I can confirm this as a business owner. Under Donald Trump, we started offering full health insurance plans for employees. Before that, it was health sharing
transparency
because it was too expensive. There was a way to circumnavigate the Obamacare law.
And nobody
Harris
knows
came in, he took it
what
away.
actually costs.
I
That
did.
price transparency will actually
Oh,
give
by the way,
American
also, don't
consumers
expect us
a
to
little bit
match
more
the
choice,
401k.
and will also drive down costs.
Not now.
And we talked about, the reinsurance regulations is what I was talking about. Look, Donald Trump has said that if we allow states to experiment a little bit on how to cover both the chronically
Yes,
ill,
that's
the
the crazy-
non-chronically ill, it's not just a
$30,000
plan. He
ambulance
actually
rides and
implemented some of these
$50,000
regulations when he
helicopter
was
rides.
president of the United States. And I think you can make a really good argument that it salvaged Obamacare, which was doing disastrously until Donald Trump came along. I think that's an important point about President Trump. Of course, you don't have to agree with
Yep,
everything that
Lady
President
Smith,
Trump
absolutely.
has
Punch
ever
in the
said
face.
or ever done. But when
Still hurts.
Obamacare was crushing
JD
under
Vance
the weight
is
of
the
its own
14-ounce
regulatory
boxing
burden
glove.
and healthcare
You
costs,
think it helps
Donald
you.
Trump
It just
couldn't
allows you to take
destroy
more
the
blunt
program.
brain
Instead,
trauma without
he
getting cut in the
worked
face.
a bipartisan way to ensure that Americans had access to affordable care. It's not perfect, of course, and there's so much more that we can do. But I think that Donald Trump
Jeez,
has
Tim
earned
Walz,
the
you
right
think there's
to
10 of
put
them.
in place some better healthcare policies. He's earned it because he did it successfully the first time.
Governor?
All right, here's where being an old guy gives you some history. I was there at
Yeah,
the creation
you are
of
history.
the
I
ACA.
was there.
Too,
The reason
and
it was so
Afghanistan.
important is I come from a major healthcare state.
And I was in
Home to Mayo
Afghanistan and
Clinic,
Ukraine.
Home to Medical Alley, 3M, Medtronic, all of those. We understand healthcare. It's
Why did
we're
Mayo
ranked
expand to
first on
Arizona?
affordability
I know,
and
'cause I got my
accessibility
surgery
and
there.
Quality of healthcare. And so what I know is under Kamala Harris, more people are covered than they have before. And those of you listening, this is critical to you. Now, Donald Trump all
Wait, I
of a
thought she
sudden
was vice
wants you.
president and it's not
Go
her
back
record.
and remember this.
You see how he does that?
ran on the
He generalizes everyone listening. This is why this is important to you, to everyone listening, right? Because they have health care, so they think what he's saying is about them, but it is so fake and disingenuous. Like I get it, it's a politician's thing, and they are taught, they are strategically taught how to manipulate people through voice. But like it's so fake and disingenuous. I hate it. Look at the look on JD Vance's face after he said that. He's like, are you serious?
first thing he was going to do on day one was to repeal Obamacare. On day one, he tried to sign an executive order to repeal the ACA. He signed on to a lawsuit to repeal the ACA, but lost at the Supreme Court.
And the end result was more affordable health care for people and actually for businesses. More businesses. Now, that would be an interesting stat. How many more businesses in the first 3 years of Donald Trump started providing health insurance, small businesses to their employees? Guarantee you it's very high. Because my accountant said...
Yeah, also, a little side note that under Waltz's pandemic BS, over 10,500 small businesses were closed by his tyrannical stay-at-home orders.
It never seen the amount of hiring and the amount of benefits being created and ingrained into the company as those first 3 years. We did.
Kamala Harris negotiated drug prices for the first time with Medicare. We have
Thank you,
10
Drewski.
drugs that will come online, the most common ones that'll be there. But look, this issue, and when Donald Trump said, I've got a concept of a plan, it cracked me up as a fourth grade teacher because my kids would
Teach your
never
drink,
get
but
that.
I'm out.
Senator Vance just explained might be worse than a concept because what he explained is pre-Obamacare. And I'll make this as simple as possible. because
Pre-Obamacare was
I have
great.
done this for a long time. What they're saying is, if you're
Bring up the
healthy,
stats on
why should you
Obamacare,
be
the
paying
insurance
more?
premiums and what
So
those
they're
rates
gonna
were.
do is let
Premiums and
insurance
deductibles,
companies
how high they went.
pick who they insure, because guess what happens? You pay your premium, it's not much. They're figure they're not going to have to pay out to you. But those of you a little older, gray, got cancer, you're going to get kicked out of it. That's why the
No,
system
you'll
didn't
have to
work.
pay a little bit more
Kamala
because you're going to
Harris will
need a little bit
protect
more.
and
That's
enhance
insurance. You just
the
described
ACA.
socialism.
It's the same reason life insurance is cheaper if you get it when you're young.
You would protect people with pre-existing conditions or laid out that plan.
Well, look, we currently have laws and regulations in place right now that protect people with pre-existing conditions. We want to keep those regulations in place, but we also want to make the health insurance marketplace function a little bit better. Now, what Governor
Obamacare
Walz just
doubled
said
the cost
is
of individual
actually
health
not
insurance.
true. A lot of what happened and the reason that Obamacare was crushing under its own weight is that a lot of young and healthy people were leaving the exchanges.
Exactly.
Donald Trump actually helped
And have them put all
address
this
that
in a
problem,
list at the end
and
so
he
we can go
did
through all
so
of them.
in a way that preserved people's access to coverage who had pre-existing conditions. But again, something that these guys do is they make a lot of claims about if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue. But in reality, Donald Trump was president. Inflation was low. Take-home pay was higher. And he saved the very program from a Democratic administration that was collapsing and would have collapsed absent his leadership. He did his job, which is govern in a bipartisan way and get results, not just complain about problems, but actually solve them.
1/3 of primary care doctors won't take new patients on Medicaid confirmed.
The Trump administration?
It's higher now that we've seen it go up. Look, people are using it.
And look, like I'm not saying like we're not all like jerking off Trump over here. Okay, this I know. Rich is much more committed to Trump as an individual than I am. I'm just saying from the shucks, oh, man, I almost just cut my hand open. From a standpoint of from a financial
was it first blood
standpoint-
on a definition knife?
No, it was actually a different auto knife. I was closing it one-handed. I went like this, and it slipped open. And but anyway, I'll shut my mouth.
Do we have to have a first blood contest with definition knife?
Well, we didn't do the Band-Aid thing. We really should do that. We can't say it out loud too, because then they'll know about it. And then, by the way, anyone out there, can someone send me a box of 22 Magnum ammo? Because I now have this 22 mag right here, this North American Arms 22 mag. I need some CCI 22 mag, some Hornady, some something, so I can feed this little guy, because no one locally to me has any 22 Magnum. And I don't want to have to order. Yeah, I'm serious. I literally at the shop that I went to, they didn't have any. They had 17 HMR. The other two local shops close to me didn't have 22 Magnum, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to order 22 mag, like 2 50-round boxes of 22 mag online just to get it here. Like, come on, man. Yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm gonna shut up now. But anyone out there, if you have an extra box of 22 Magnum, I'll send you a whole sticker pack, and I'll show some love to you if you send me something.
The system works.
And
the question about this of young people, whatever, that's the individual mandate piece of this. And Republicans fought tooth and nail saying, well, Americans should be free to do this. Well, then what
you
happens
think the individual mandate's a good idea?
I think the idea of making sure the risk pool is broad enough to cover everyone, that's the only way insurance works. When it doesn't,
applied a tax fine to people who didn't get Obamacare.
Free ACA,
They
where we
already
get people
did
out.
that.
Look, people know that they need to be on health care. People expect it to be there.
Yeah, the jacketed hollow points, not the bird shot. If anyone has some extra bird shot, I'll take that too. But no, I definitely 22 Magnum jacketed hollow points, like defensive loads. If there is such, obviously I know there are jacketed hollow point defensive loads, but I hate to call it defensive because it's not really a defensive gun. It's just a gun you shove in your fifth pocket or your butt.
The master of Jim from The Office. Someone bring up that. Bring up a clip of that. He just looks
in the market.
He's giving a little side eye.
Ammo for stickers.
And we make sure that
I know it's not really a fair.
Sick and old, it's there for you, because I heard people say, "Well, I don't."
I'll hook it up though. I always
good luck
hook up.
buying
stickers.
health
Really
care.
curious to
Always
see
more than
the
stickers.
post debate roundups. There's no way for them to score
magazines and
Sticking all this Medicaid.
I even sent
negotiating those 10 drugs on Medicare for the first time in American history.
Thank you, Margaret.
Can I
We're-
address that?
I apologize. We're out of time. We have a number of
And he's
subjects to
losing
discuss.
bets.
By the way, and Vance is really clever, going like, I'm sorry, go ahead. He's letting everyone know that he's the cock of the walk, baby.
Child care crisis.
I'll jump
in
in on
this
the next
country,
question.
And the United
Yes, Ms.
States
Pink,
is
quick
one of
question.
the
Why do you have
very
such
few
sad eyes?
developed countries in the world without a national paid leave program for new parents. Governor Walz, You said that if Democrats win both the White House and Congress, this is a day one priority for you. How
National
long should
paid
employers
leave
be
is?
required to pay workers while they are home taking care of their newborns? You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's negotiable, and that's what Congress worked. But here's what the deal is. Americans sitting out there right now, you may work for a big company. Look, we're home in Minnesota to some of the largest Fortune 500 companies. Kamala Harris knows that in California. Those companies provide paid family and medical leave. One is, I think they're moral and they think it's a good thing, but it also keeps their employees healthy. We in Minnesota passed a paid family and medical leave. You have a child, and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start. The family works better. We stay in their employers. We get more
Most moms
consistency
get
in that.
3 months.
So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business
Yeah, but here's the
state.
problem.
But
Let me
the
just explain this really quickly. They want to
negotiations on
apply
it,
it to
and here's the
all
issue.
companies. And I can
Those
tell you this,
big
it's not a
companies are able to
policy
offer it.
that's been enshrined into
Those
law
of
in
you out there
Texas,
who don't
but
have
we
it,
have given women
just imagine what happens if
significant
you
amounts of
get
time off.
cancer
And men
or your
here
child
get
gets
2
sick.
weeks off
We
when they
know
have
what
a new child. As a matter of fact,
You
but you
end
didn't
up
take
staying
all of it.
home.
We've
In
done
some
that just
places, that means
as a way to
no
try and
paycheck
help out.
because you got
You
no
say that we
protection
have
on
to
that.
give people 2-3
This is
months
the
off. Guess
case
what's
where
going to
the
happen?
Yeah, when you
economy
People are gonna
force
hire less
people
women.
to, it's different.
Now you have a real wage gap problem.
He's willing to give those
And men, sorry,
tax
go back
breaks
to work.
to the wealthiest. He's willing to say, bust those unions up, do whatever. What we're saying
never
is
said
the
that.
economy works best when it works for all of us. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as
They'll say
childcare on
no.
this,
Well,
you
you
have to
could
take
if
it
you
at
did
both the
close to
supply and the
1,500.
demand side.
Good point.
You
Good point,
can't
Joe.
expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it
But people
easier
need to
for
leave now
folks
because
to be able to
your
get
entire
into that
party
business
created a
and
dual
make
income
sure
household
folks are able to
necessity,
pay for that.
to be clear.
We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this.
Yeah.
We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of
There's
paid
49 other
family
states,
medical
bro.
leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
Governor, your time
No,
is up.
and you don't want us to
Senator,
have
do
children.
you support a national paid leave program? And if so, for how long? should
Yeah, and this is a
employers
good
remain
point.
paid?
And also, I'm sorry, I'm a dirtbag. Shout out to Gutter Cheese, who reached out to me about the Longshore strike as well. Thank you, brother. I didn't get to hit on it yet, but that is a big piece of this because anything coming into the United States from
Which is
overseas,
everything on the shelf in Walmart.
Yep. If you guys don't have everything stacked up, we're gonna be feeling the pain. And I heard that that may last at least the rest of this year. So anything coming by boat. Now, if it's coming by boat, what happens? They can't get it here by boat. So what happens? They need to send it by air. Rich and I just found out this year that when you get stuff from China on a boat, it's very affordable. When you get stuff from China via air, it is at least 4x the cost. So be prepared for things to either be not available or remarkably expensive.
How navigates
To
this?
pay their employees while they are home taking care of their newborn. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, first of all, Margaret, a number of my Republican colleagues and some Democrats too have worked on this issue, and I think there is a bipartisan solution here because a lot of us care about this issue. I mean, look, I speak from this very personally.
Tyrannical
because
thought
I'm
police,
married
what
to
up?
a
Forcing
beautiful
Walls to
woman
nod his head
who's
yes,
an incredible
more
mother
than
to
Walls
our
should
3
be.
beautiful kids, but is also a very, very brilliant corporate litigator, and I'm so proud of her. But being a working mom, even for somebody with all of the advantages of my wife, is extraordinarily difficult. And it's not just difficult from a policy perspective. She actually had access to paid family leave because she worked for a bigger company. But the cultural pressure on young families and especially young women, I think makes it really hard for people to choose the family model they want. A lot of young women would like to go back to work immediately. Some would like to spend a little time home with the kids. Some would like to spend longer at home with the kids. We should have a family care model that makes choice possible. And I think this is a very important substantive
Look at Tim
difference
Walz. He's like,
between
I'm
Donald
voting
Trump
for
and
that
Kamala
guy.
Harris's approach. I mean, look, if you
I'm
look at
voting
the
for that guy.
programs that we have that support paid family leave right now, the Community Development Block Grant, and there's another block grant program that spends a lot of money from the federal government. These programs only go to one kind of childcare model. Let's say you'd like your church maybe to help you out with childcare. Maybe you live in a rural area or an urban area.
What is this church you speak of?
families in your neighborhood to provide childcare in the way that makes the most sense. You don't get access to any of these federal monies. We want to promote choice in how we deliver family care and how we promote childcare, because look, it is unacceptable. And, of course, Tim and I have been on the campaign trail a lot the past 7 or 8 weeks.
This is the
And
one thing the
biggest
media is going to
complaints
fact
I
check
hear
him on
from
and say he
young
didn't give a
families
specific
is
plan.
People who feel like
But
they
neither did
don't
Tim
have
Walz.
options, like they're choosing between going to work or taking care for their kids. That is an incredible burden to put on American families. We're the only country that does it. I think we could do a heck of a lot better.
Senator, thank you.
I would say that was his weakest answer of the night, but still, light years. I mean, he still had Tim Walz agreeing with
The
him.
Federal Reserve says parents will spend nearly as much on childcare as they do on housing each month. So I want to get your thoughts on this. President
answer is in the
Trump
question.
recently said,
Be a single income
as much as
household if
childcare
you
is
can.
talked about as being expensive.
There you go.
It's relatively
But
speaking,
they don't even
not
consider that
very
an option.
expensive compared to the kinds of numbers we'll be taking in. Is President Trump committed to the $5,000 per child tax credit that you have described? You have 1 minute.
Well, what President Trump said, Margaret, I just want to defend
Which
my running
that's
mate here
also a
little bit,
sham.
is that we're going to be taking in a lot of money by penalizing companies for shipping jobs overseas and penalizing countries who employ slave laborers and then ship their products back into our country and undercut the wages of American workers. It's the heart of the Donald Trump economic plan.
China.
Cut taxes for American workers and American families. Cut taxes for businesses that are hiring and building companies in the United States of America, but penalize companies and countries that are shipping jobs overseas. That's the heart of the economic proposal. And I think what President Trump is saying is that when we bring in this additional revenue with higher economic growth, we're going to be able to provide paid family leave, childcare options that are viable and workable for a lot of American families.
Walz is thinking that
Can
this
you
debate is
clarify
a
how
lot
that
harder than
will
pandering
solve
to low
the
IQ
childcare
voters.
shortage?
Well, because
No
as Tim
follow-ups to
said,
Walz.
a lot of the child care shortages, we just don't have enough resources going
Hold
into
up,
the
hold up.
multiple
The
people who could be
moderator had a
providing
follow-up
family care
question?
options. And we're going to have to, unfortunately, look, we're going to have to spend more money. We're going to have to induce more people to want to
I didn't hear
provide
any
child care
follow-up
options for
questions
American
to-
families.
to
Because the
Tim
reason
Balls.
it's so expensive right now
But
is because
also
you've
the
got
moderator,
way too few
like,
people
handed
providing this
Walz
very essential
softballs.
service.
It's like,
Thank you,
Tim
Senator.
Walz, can you
Governor
comment
Walz,
on this?
your
Yeah.
ticket also has some child care tax credit proposals.
Oh,
do you
Minnesota
think
lost
Congress
106
will
million
reach
child
the
care fraud in
$6,000
2019.
credit for
Who
newborns
did?
and $3,000
Minnesota.
credit for children over the
Good
age
state.
of 6, as your campaign has promised? Is that realistic?
Well, if these members of Congress are listening to anybody, I can tell you, and this is the biggest issue. Everybody listening tonight knows. I mean, I'm sure they were shocked to hear it's not that expensive. And let's be clear, whether it's 5,000 or 6,000, that pays you about 3 or 4 months. Let's be clear of where we're at on this. It's because we got out of an imbalance on this. We thought we were going to get by not paying people. I don't think Senator Vance and I are that far apart. I'm not opposed to what he's talking about on options. We've done scholarships.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, this child tax credit that they're talking about is something that they give to you up front, and then they charge you for on your tax return. There's virtually no benefit there. You can't just appear something out of thin air and not take it from somewhere else. Okay, this pretend world of just shit materializing out of nowhere is so inauthentic and fake. It just drives me nuts, man.
Things I think we need to be open to making the case. But the issue here is the question you asked is, you're not going to pay for it with these tariffs. That's just adding another $4,000 on the family and taking less. So
What?
not only do they not get the money,
Tim
to
Walz
pay
not
for
answering a question
they're
directly.
$4,000 in
Drink.
the hole. That's
Yeah.
Wharton School. That's his alma mater. And so I think the issue here is, if
The
those
alma
members
mater
of
you
Congress,
cited
I can't
as supporting
believe
your
they're not-
economic
when I go
plan
to
until they
businesses,
said,
sure, they'll talk
"Bullshit."
about taxes sometime, but they will lead with childcare and they will lead with housing, because we know the problem is, especially in a state like Minnesota, we need more workers
Pirates.
because our economy's growing, but we need the workforce.
Governor,
you say
thank you.
childcare's
We
not
need to move on.
very expensive?
Let's talk about the state of democracy,
I
the
think so.
top issue for Americans after the economy
$15
and
off.
inflation.
VP debate promo
After the
code. Go now
2020
and join Monk
election,
Club.
President Trump's
you're
campaign
gay.
and others filed 62
Or you're
lawsuits
gay.
contesting the results. Judges, including those appointed by President Trump and other Republican presidents, looked at the evidence and said there was no widespread
Bring up that in a fact
fraud.
check. They didn't even look at the
Bullshit.
evidence. Bring up the
Every
amount of cases. I believe it was
state in the
out of the
nation,
60.
Republicans
Was it 30
and
something or 40 that
Democrats
didn't even look at the
certified
evidence?
The 2020 election
So have that in the
results
fact check.
and
Again, we'll have
sent
this at
a
the end
legal slate
of the VP debate.
electors to
Use the promo code
Congress
VP debate. There's
before
$15 off Mug
January
Club.
6th.
You'll see us 10 a.m.
Senator Vance,
every
you have
weekday
said you
morning
would
if you're in
not
Mug Club.
have
We can't do it without you.
certified the last
Or you're gay.
presidential election
Don't forget.
and would have asked the states to submit alternative electors. That has been called unconstitutional and illegal.
Not unconstitutional.
Would you again
Can be
seek
won
to
with
challenge this
alternative
year's
electors.
election results, even if every governor certifies the results? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, Nora, first of all, I think that we're focused on the future. We need to figure out how to solve the inflation crisis caused by Kamala Harris's policies, make housing affordable,
This
make
okay,
groceries
sorry, I thought I
affordable,
was muted.
and that's what we're
This is
focused
the
on.
reality here. Okay. So Redneck Roughneck says the government only has the money it steals from the citizens.
Amen.
They earn nothing and spend like drunken sailors in a whorehouse. 100%. And then after all our money is gone, they do the only thing that materializes in the form of money is the shit that they print and you pay for it.
I want to answer your question because you did ask it. Look, what President Trump has said is
I
that
wanna
there were
answer your
problems
question
in
because you
2020.
did ask
And my
it.
own belief is that we should fight about those issues, debate those issues peacefully in the public square. And that's all I've said. And that's all that Donald Trump has said. Remember, he said that on January the 6th, the protesters ought to protest peacefully. And on January the 20th, what happened? Joe Biden became the president. Donald Trump left the White House. And now, of course, unfortunately, we have all of the negative policies that have come from the Harris-Biden administration. I believe that we actually do have a threat to democracy in this country, but unfortunately, it's not the threat
Tim
to
Walz can't find
democracy
his
that
talking
Kamala
points. Look,
Harris
he's looked
and Tim
down for way
Walz
too
want to
long.
talk about. It is the threat of censorship. It's Americans casting aside.
He's going to walk Tim
lifelong
Walz right into this. We
friendships
have the
and
clip of Tim
disagreements
Walz.
over
Let's have it at the end of him
politics.
saying
It's
that the
big
First Amendment doesn't cover
technology
your right to
companies
hate
silencing
speak.
their fellow citizens, and it's Kamala
Okay.
Harris saying
That's right.
that rather than debate and persuade her fellow Americans, she'd like to censor
Yeah,
people
and
who engage
Kamala
in
Swallow
misinformation.
says the same
I
thing.
think that is a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country
Yep.
in the last 4 years, in the last 40
He
years.
knows
Now,
Tim
I'm really
Walz's
proud,
position.
especially given
Facts.
that
He's
I was
boxing him in.
raised by
Either
two
Tim Walz is going to have to
lifelong
reiterate his
blue-collar
position where he's
Democrats
pro-censorship,
to have the
or
endorsement
if he
of
walks
Bobby
away from it,
Kennedy Jr.
then
and
JD Vance
Tulsi
is going to
Gabbard,
say, well, why did you
lifelong
say?
leaders
And bring
in
it
the
back up.
Democratic
Watch.
coalition.
It's going to be
Yeah,
one of
there
those
is
two.
no
I
win
guarantee you.
for Walz on
on
this.
every
If they can
issue.
go back and forth.
We don't have to agree on every issue, but we're united behind a basic American First Amendment principle that we ought to debate our differences. We ought to argue
Ooh,
about them. We ought
we're
to try to persuade our
united
fellow
around
Americans.
this.
Kamala Harris is engaged in censorship at an industrial scale. She did it during COVID. She's done it over a number of other issues. And that to me is a much bigger threat to
All right,
democracy
so listen.
than what Donald
32
Trump
cases
said
heard on merits
when
out
he
of
said that
92
Bam.
filed.
protesters should
24 of
peacefully protest on
32
January
won
6th.
by Donald Trump.
Well, I've enjoyed
You've
today's
never
debate.
heard that
I think
before,
there was a lot
I'm
of
pretty sure.
commonality here, and I'm sympathetic to misspeaking on things, and I think I might have with the senator. But
me too, man.
There's one.
You're
though, that
definitely
this one is
sympathetic to
troubling me,
misspeaking.
and I say that because I think we need to tell the story. Donald Trump refused to
That's why
acknowledge
you looked
this.
down
And
at your
the fact
talking points
is
for so
that
long.
I don't think we can be the frog in the pot and let the boiling water go up. He was very clear. I mean, he
Does it go
lost
up?
this
It
election, and he said he
boils.
did. 140 police officers were beaten at the Capitol that day. Some with the American flag, several later died.
140?
And it wasn't
Oh,
just
actually,
in there.
Babbitt.
In Minnesota, a group gathered on the state
More
Capitol
citizens were
grounds
beaten
St.
in one
Paul
city in your
and
state
said,
during the
"We're
Black Lives
marching
Matter
to the
riots.
governor's
Citizens.
residence, and there may be casualties." The only person there was my son and his dog, who was rushed out crying by state police. That issue and Mike Pence standing there as they were
sorry?
chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Mike Pence made
Fact
the right
check.
decision.
Bring up the
So,
the noose of the
Senator,
Mike
it
Pence that was about 3 feet
adjudicated
tall.
over
Wouldn't
and
even
over
work for a
and over.
pygmy.
I worked with
We
kids
tried.
long enough to know, and I said as a football coach, sometimes you really want to win, but the democracy is bigger than winning an election.
Man, this
You
dude's
shake
ego.
hands, and then you try and do everything you can to help the other
Is that
side
what Obama
win.
did?
That's what was
Good
at
point.
stake here.
Yeah,
Now, the thing
but
I'm
you want to
most concerned
silence
about is
people who disagree with you. You've said
the
so.
idea that imprisoning your political opponents, already laying the groundwork.
One person
for
has
people
done
not
that.
accepting
Joe
it.
That's
Biden
literally
and
what
Kamala
you
Harris.
guys are
President's words
doing.
Matter.
Donald Trump let Hillary
President's
walk.
words matter. People hear that. So
Lock her
I
up.
think
Lock
this
her
issue of
up.
settling our differences at the ballot box, shaking hands when we lose, being honest about it,
Get ready
but
to
to
shake
deny
hands.
what happened on January 6th, the first time in American history,
That lady was 4 foot tall.
that a president or anyone tried to overturn a fair
Oh,
election and the peaceful transfer
bullshit.
of power.
Al Gore.
And here we are.
You did it in
4 years later,
2016.
in the same
You,
boat.
Amy
I will
Klobuchar,
tell you-
Elizabeth.
Okay, first off, what they're referring to is the speech that he gave after the election results. Okay, look at the 4 years they challenged Trump. There's never been somebody.
They lost their minds over. They had 15 different ways the election was stolen.
Yeah, and I just find it hilarious that him coming out and saying, stand down and stand by. What do you say? I don't want to misquote, but it was basically like, that he supports their right to peacefully protest, right? And like they're making it sound like he was like basically calling them to action to commit these things. What really happened is that you had a bunch of people, aside from all the feds and the Fed shit going on, right? Like, let's take the Fed shit out for a second, because I know with certainty, we all know that there were feds operating within that group that were inciting violence and inciting people to commit, bad stuff. The saboteurs and the, people that were subverting the crowd and all that. Hey guys, do you guys want to play with some pipe bombs? Like, come on. Anyway, what really happened
You mean like
was
Ray Epps?
yes. What really happened was there's a shitload of people that had just watched people of opposing beliefs destroy nearly every city in the United States for 4 months, and nothing was done about it. And they didn't want to continue seeing their country destroyed, and they got pissed off, and they were there to, they believed, I think they were there to bring in Trump for another 4 years, and they got pissed off, and they were literally guided and walked to the Capitol, and they were trying to let their grievances be heard. Some people went a little too crazy, some people didn't do anything. But that, if you think that was an insurrection, you are
Where nobody
drunk.
was armed.
Yeah, like, come on, dude. Like, our country was founded upon
Rebellion.
yeah, I was going to use a slightly different terminology, but yes, thank you for saving me. This country was founded upon rebellion and shooting tyrants in the face. So if you think a bunch of people taking a guided tour through the Capitol was an insurrection, you're tripping. That was absolutely not an insurrection. That was something for them to milk, to try to paint Donald Trump as the terrible person they think he is.
Warren,
That
Jimmy
when this is
Carter,
over,
because
we
of
need to
Russia,
shake
which was
hands
fabricated.
this election,
2016.
and the winner needs to be the winner. This has got to stop. It's tearing our country apart.
Margaret?
Answer. No answer,
Senator Vance,
JD.
did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, well, look, Tim, first of all, it's really rich for Democratic leaders to say that Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy when he peacefully gave over power on January the 20th, as we have done for 250 years in this country. We are going to shake hands after this debate and after this election. And of course, I hope that we win, and I think we're going to win. But if Tim Walz is the next vice president, he'll have my prayers, he'll have my best wishes, and he'll have my help whenever he wants it.
So much better.
But we have to remember that for years in this country, Democrats protested the results of elections. Hillary Clinton in 2016 said that Donald Trump had the election stolen by Vladimir Putin because the Russians bought like $500,000 worth of Facebook ads. This has been going on for a long time. And if we want to say that we need to respect the results of the election, I'm on board. But if we want to say,
joy in his
Tim
face.
Walz is saying that this is just a problem that Republicans have had, I don't buy that.
Governor.
January 6th was not Facebook ads. And I think a revisionist history on this. Look, I don't understand how we got to this point.
So what was
But
it?
The issue was
BLM.
that
That
happened.
was the beginning.
Donald Trump can do it. And all of us say
Well,
there's no place
I believe it was
for
a
this.
month
It
before,
has
2 months before, they
massive
burned down a
repercussions.
church outside of the White
This
House, and
idea
they
that
tried
there's
to storm the White House
Televising
gates.
history.
Threatening to kill someone, threatening to do something. That's not censorship. Censorship is book banning. We've seen that. We've seen that brought up.
Porno books.
I just
Bring
think
up fact check to the list. They banned
everyone-
To Kill a
Okay, they're talking
Mockingbird
about-
and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
Senator Vance,
This is such a joke.
Republicans
I think
want to
this is the
ban
conversation we
pedophile
wanted to
pornography.
hear. And I think there's a lot of agreement. This is
We'll
one
have
that
it
we are miles
really
apart
big
of.
fact check at the end of
This
this.
was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020
So Stacey
election?
Abrams.
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship. Obviously, Donald Trump
trying to get
there
him
were
to the
problems
censorship
in 2020. We've talked about it. I'm happy to talk about it further. But you guys attack us for not believing in democracy. The most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris wants to use the power of government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present.
The speech that needs to be protected is the speech that you disagree with.
The only speech that needs protection.
Correct.
Is the speech you disagree with.
And the fact that they are trying to create an industry of banning people for wrongthink is just absurd, because we're not just talking about censoring stuff online. We're talking about altering people's lives because of their thoughts and because of this
is everything they say. It's like I'm for free speech as long as you speak the way I want you to, as long as you have the right free speech. I'm for Second Amendment as long as you have the right gun.
As long as you only have a double-barreled shotgun and a revolver. Dude, this is absurd.
Political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship. Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about ideas, and then let's come together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater.
Oh,
yes, you can.
That's the test.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay, that is such bullshit. You know what's funny? I've been standing here. I'm standing, just so y'all know, right? I've been standing here for 2.5 hours. My watch just said it's time to stand. It's like, bitch, I've been standing the whole time. You can yell fire in a crowded theater, contrary to popular belief. If there is indeed
speech is not illegal.
Yeah, well, CRS Firearms would disagree. However, this is the world that we're living in right now. You can yell fire in a crowded theater. You can yell gun. If there is indeed a fire in a crowded theater, you can yell that. It's just it's an intellectually.
What if you
dishonest
identify
argument.
as a fire in a crowded theater?
That's an excellent point, Rich. I think we should allow that.
2016 talking points.
Theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't
Senator,
wear
the governor
masks.
does
That's
have the
not
floor.
See what they're trying to do?
That is criticizing the policies of the government, which is the right of every American.
Senator, the governor does have the floor for 1 minute to respond to you.
Yeah. Well,
they were going back and forth. They have no problem.
The governor does it out there who refused, and now again, and this I'm really shocked by this. He lost the election. This is not a debate. It's not. It's not anything anywhere.
Why is he talking about the election again?
Clear.
That wasn't the conversation. He's trying to
lost the
spin
election,
this, so
and
he
he was
doesn't have to talk about
deplatformed by
censorship.
the exact same companies. Facebook at that point, Twitter, YouTube, Google, Apple, all these places that you demanded deplatform political opposition. Can we be more clear about that? We've been fighting against this since, by the way, 2011. You can see us be demonetized back in 2016, the Vox apocalypse. We know all about censorship. That's why we're on Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, head on over to Rumble. It is a matter of policy that has been implemented through systemic pressure applied from the Democrat Party. Mark Zuckerberg admitted it. Elon Musk, now that he has Twitter, has admitted it. YouTube admitted it to us. We provided you with the receipts.
Dude, there was entire congressional investigations on this.
Rumble has told you and provided receipts. At every turn, they want to silence voices of dissent.
Time is up. Thank you, gentlemen. We will be right back with both of our candidates. The CBS News Vice Presidential.
Oh man, this
debate
is like hard to watch.
All right, really quickly, we're going to be back in just 2 minutes. I'm going to make sure that we have this live fact check here at the end of this, kind of like an ombudsman, because boy, has this been. We've done our research.
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
No matter what happens, that's the president in 2028.
Dude, right?
Yeah, just
good Lord, out of nowhere.
I spoke with Pops Crowder. He said, I think he could have more satchel, be a little tougher. I don't think so. I think he's given to disagree with where
the freedom for you to make choices about the freedom for you to make choices is this.
No matter what happens, that's the president in 2028.
Dude, right?
We'll have to cut it soon
Good
after this
Lord,
one.
out of nowhere.
I spoke with Pops Crowder. He said, I think he could have more satchel, be a little tougher. I don't think so. I think he's given
His demeanor is perfect.
Yeah, he's given
I thought
Waltz
the same
nothing
thing.
to disagree with. Where I would have been more aggressive, I think he's doing it a little bit more deftly.
I thought the same thing about Vivek Ramaswamy. That's why I like Vivek so much, because he was so upfront, he was direct, and he had a bit of aggression to it. Yeah, it'd be great together, but there's a certain edge that JD has that Vivek didn't have about composure and being calm.
Like Waltz, you can't go.
All right,
No, it's like beating up a baby.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It looks like a friggin' baby, dude.
The
broads are back.
Remember the baby from Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
The man baby.
Elected to go last. So Governor Walz, you are first. You have 2 minutes.
Well, I'm voting for this guy.
Thank you, Senator Vance. Thank you to CBS News. And most importantly, thank you to all of you. If you're still up and the folks who miss Dancing with Our Stars, I appreciate it. But look, the sport of democracy matters.
Wild card
It
game's more
matters
likely.
that you're here. And I'm as surprised as anybody of this coalition
got
that
my ass
Kamala
kicked.
Harris has built, from Bernie Sanders to
Can't
Dick
believe she
Cheney
called me,
to
be
Taylor
honest.
Swift, and a whole bunch of
To
folks in
Taylor
between them.
Swift, did you?
And they don't all agree on
Wow.
everything, but they are
He doesn't even know
truly
who Taylor
optimistic
Swift is.
people. They believe in a positive future of this
But all
country,
sound cool and
one
hip.
where our politics can be better than it is. And I have to tell you that that better than it is the sense of optimism
Yes.
that there can
Oh,
be
Lord.
an opportunity economy
Oh Lord.
that works for everyone, not just to get
They don't
by,
even know
but
what
to
that
get
means.
ahead. And the idea that
From a
freedom
horse?
really means something, not the freedom of government to be in your bedroom or exam room, but the freedom for you to make choices about yourself. Now, look, we all know who Donald Trump is. He's told us, and as Maya Angelou said, believe him when he told you that. His first inaugural address talked about American carnage. And then he spent 4 years trying to maybe do that. Senator Vance tonight made it clear he will
What?
stand with Donald Trump's agenda. He will continue to push down that road. Excuse me. Kamala Harris gives us a different option. Now, I'll have to tell you, I'm going to be careful about
Yes.
the quotes, but there's one
Failure.
that Senator Vance said that does resonate with me. He said, Donald Trump makes the people I care about afraid. A lot of America feels that way. We don't need to be afraid. Franklin Roosevelt was right. All we have to fear is fear itself. Kamala Harris is bringing us a new way forward.
Yeah.
She's bringing us a
Or you
politics of
coming in as
joy.
a horse
She's
whisperer.
bringing real solutions for the middle class, and she's centering you at the heart of that.
Fire
All
on
the
her.
while
That was a
asking
hairball.
Everyone, join this movement. Make your voices
Horse
heard.
hairball.
Let's look for a new day where everybody gets that opportunity and everybody gets a chance to thrive.
And
I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th for Kamala
Unless you're a business
Harris.
owner in Minnesota.
Governor Walz.
in
thank
his
you.
head right now,
Senator Vance,
everyone's
your
like,
closing statement.
Well, I want to thank Governor
No,
Walz,
dog. No, dog.
you folks at CBS, and of course the American people for tuning in this evening. And one of the issues we didn't talk about was energy. And I remember when I was being raised by my grandmother, when she didn't have enough money to turn on the heat some nights because Ohio gets pretty cold at night and because money was often very tight. And I believe, as a person who wants to be your next vice president, that we are a rich and prosperous enough country where every American, whether they're rich or poor, ought to be able to turn on their heat in the middle of a cold winter night. That's gotten more difficult thanks to Kamala Harris's energy policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford a nice meal for your family. That's gotten harder because of Kamala Harris's policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford to buy a house. You ought to be able to live in safe neighborhoods. You ought to not have your communities flooded with fentanyl. And that too has gotten harder with Kamala because of Kamala Harris's policies. Now, I've been in politics long enough to do what Kamala Harris does when she stands before the American people and says that on day one, she's going to work on all these challenges I just listed. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. Day one was 1,400 days ago, and her policies have made these problems worse. Now, I believe that we have the most beautiful country in the world. I meet people on the campaign trail who can't afford food, but have the grace and generosity to ask me how I'm doing and to tell me they're praying for my family. What that has taught me is that we have the greatest country, the most beautiful country, the most incredible people anywhere in the world. But they're not going to be able to achieve their full dreams with the broken leadership that we have in Washington. They're not going to be able to live their American dream if we do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. We need change. We need a new direction. We need a president who has already done this once before and did it well. Please vote for Donald Trump. And whether you vote for me or vote for Tim Walz, I just want to say, I'm so proud to be doing this and I'm rooting for you. God bless you and good night.
Senator Vance, thank you. And thank you both for participating in the only vice presidential debate of this election cycle. I'm Margaret Brennan.
And I
I'm
look
Nora
like
O'Donnell,
Alice
and a
Cooper.
reminder, there are just 35 days until Election Day. Please get out.
35
and vote.
days.
And for all of us
So
here
how
at
many?
CBS News. Thank you. CBS News.
What?
Yeah.
Is that us or them?
So how many assassination attempts are going to take place between now and the next 35 days?
Hopefully none.
Hopefully none. I think there's going to be one more.
Oof.
Dude, it's a terrible thing, man. But I mean, they have actually, you know what? I'll say this. When I went to go pick up that North American Arms 22 Magnum revolver from Safety Harbor Firearms, he sent it to my FFL. I went to my FFL and he was like, dude, can you believe I had to terminate a sale? I had to no sale this guy. And I was like, what? Now this is a dude that is like 100% complete committed to, he's like us, right? He's freedom, liberty, independence, and anything else, like fuck off, right? And I was like, what do you mean you had to no sale him? What happened? He was like, he made a comment that you just don't say. And I was thinking in my head, like, man, he must have said something like bad, and he was going to buy a rifle. Gave him his ID, and they were about to do paperwork, and there was an optic on the rifle, and he was like, so does this thing come like zeroed in? And he was like, well, no, the optic isn't zeroed, it's just kind of placed on the optic on the rifle. Like sometimes they'll tweak the red dot to the front sight or something, but aside from that, it's just not really messed with. And he was like, oh, I was just curious because after I buy this, I'm going to be aiming at Trump. Like, and the guy was like,
get out of my store.
What? And he was like, I'm going to be aiming at Trump. And he said it again. And he was like, dude, here's your ID back. You got to leave. You cannot say anything like that. And the dude was like shocked and like appalled, but he said
everybody thinks like the dude. Why wouldn't it be okay? Of course the gun store guy would be okay with that.
Yeah, of course. Dude, I personally always disliked when people came in and just off the bat they're just like immediately like politic garble puking on me when I worked at the gun shop. Like it was such a just I don't know. People always assume that everyone thinks like them. And they always assume that, well, you're a gun guy, so you're a conservative Republican, and you're a this, so you must be a that. And it's like, dude, come on. Anyway, what are your thoughts and takeaways from this event?
I think Vance did really good. Just the visually. I mean, you remember Kamala, doing the, and the, when she talks and the, she was gonna fly away. It's like, holy shit! Did anybody coach you on? But Tim Walz had the RBF. Amazingly, Vance would be making a point, and Tim Walz would be looking over at him, like
shaking his head, yep,
like nodding, acknowledging, like give the point to Vance.
Well, the funniest thing was when he was talking, you could tell that he was so in his notes that he wasn't really listening to what JD Vance was saying, and he was just taking whatever few key points of something he said.
I don't understand the amount of note taking that Waltz did, and then he's looking for something in his notes and not finding it.
Yeah, and then did a terrible job with. Here was the funny thing. So JD Vance was saying like, I'm not saying that the illegal immigrants are committing X, Y, and Z that all of them have, but what I am saying is that Kamala Harris made it possible for these illegal immigrants to come over and allowed cartels to illegally traffic in fentanyl, which resulted in all that fentanyl coming over to the United States. And he's over there shaking his head, and he was like, he shrugged his shoulders. He was like, yeah. Like, you just agreed and said he wasn't paying attention. I don't think you just agreed and said yes, that Kamala Harris allowed cartels to operate in illegally trafficking fentanyl over our border. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, oh my, that's going to be gold tomorrow. And, become friends with school shooters.
Yeah, Waltz. So I've seen, I read some articles here while we're doing the show. Waltz, I'm kind of surprised that the media didn't cover for him. So the moderators kind of softballed him questions. It's like, you could phrase it this way. What do you think about that, Tim Walz? I was like, shut up.
Yeah, like stop.
Stop softballing and giving him the answer.
Yeah.
It's like, do you think this is one possible outcome that would?
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
mean, even so she had asked like JD Vance, like about the child tax credits, and then he said that he would have $5,000 tax credits, which again is also a sham. Then she goes and asks the same question to Tim Waltz, but she says, "Now your plan also has $3,000 and $5,000 tax credits," which stop. You are literally doing like comparative math and saying like, well, it's pretty close. You're talking to the general
But
public.
if
You're showing
you roll
your bias.
back, anyhow, where I was going with this. So the moderators, again, were biased towards Walz. If you look, they were fact checking Vance. They didn't fact check Walz. The closest thing they did do, which I was kind of surprised at, is they called him out on Tiananmen Square. It's like, you were in America when you claimed that you were in Hong Kong during Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I
misspoke.
And they actually, he gave this whole long answer. I had to shave.
And then they were like,
they
you actually didn't answer the question.
Yeah, they actually returned. And he's like,
But
I misspoke.
I think they had to, otherwise they would have been, if they hadn't done that, they would have been accused even more about showing their bias.
Look, the Kamala Trump debate was a train wreck. It's
Absolute train wreck.
You guys shut the living F up. And again, even tonight, where the Minnesota law that Walz signed, if there's a botched abortion and the baby is born alive, they're going to let it die.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
So the things that where Walz is like, well, Trump's going to put a 20% tax on everybody. It's like, yeah, no, that's called a tariff. That's not a tax on everybody. Some tariffs are good. Some tariffs are bad. A bad tariff could be a tax on everyone. I don't want to just, and again, I am a Trump fan, but look, we're getting our knives from China,
Yeah.
So some tariffs are good. And originally, the way the U.S. was supposed to work, the federal government was not supposed to tax its people. It was supposed to make its money on tariffs.
Yeah. But we're so far beyond that, it's a joke.
Yeah. So I was kind of surprised that they called him out on the Tiananmen Square, that he's a frickin' liar.
Yeah.
And they returned to the question and say, hey, you didn't answer. He's like, I misspoke. It's like, yeah, that's not a misspoke.
Yeah.
No, if I said I was in New York City when 9/11 happened, that's a frickin' lie.
Yeah, that is a lie.
I was driving to work on Sunrise Highway in Long Island during 9/11.
So it's funny you say that, because literally during this whole thing, Crowder literally said the same thing. He was like, so I went to New York City November, November 2001. If I were to misspeak and say I was in, New York City during 9/11, like that's not a misspeak. That is, that's untrue.
No, I know when 9/11 happened. I know where I was. I remember, I mean, I don't remember where I was watching the guy standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square. I don't really remember that, but
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
I know I wasn't in Hong Kong. I know I was in Islip, New York. Let
yeah,
me just say that.
yeah. I just know. Look, I think that the next 4 years is likely going to be very challenging for all of us. And at the same time, I think the next, October, November, December, January is going to be especially
Get on your
challenging.
big bore Anderson build.
Guys, I'm going to be real with you. The only way you are going to be able to make it through the next 4 months
Is with a big bore Anderson build.
is with a definition knives. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. Look, all jokes aside, man, guys, no matter what happens, make sure that you get right with your family, that you get right with God, and that you make sure that you are training to become as violent as you possibly can be. But let me say it differently. A strong man, a man that's a leader within their community, a leader within their family, a leader within their church, a leader, like a strong man, you're supposed to be a warrior of God. It is a responsibility of yours to exercise violence and to be violent, and then exercise discipline in that violence. And I'll say what my brother had sent me. It was you cannot claim to be peaceful unless you're capable of great violence. If you are not capable of great violence, you are not peaceful, you're harmless. And that is such a good, that's just a beautiful way to say
Quit being a little bitch.
yes, exactly. Just make sure that you are doing everything you can to become as highly skilled in violence as possible, and exercise your discipline to not use it unless you need to preserve your life or preserve the lives of others that you're responsible for. Aside from that, prepare. You never know, what may happen, and put your faith in God, and get right with Jesus, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Tim the Tank Man. Yeah. What would you like to say before we close out of here?
No, I just looked up. Tiananmen Square was 1989, so April 15th to June 4th, 1989.
I know where I was.
You weren't born yet.
I don't know. Was I? I was an 80s baby. That's all I'll say. Anyway, let's go ahead and close out. DefinitionKnives.com is live. However, all the information on almost all the knives is incorrect. Credit card processing is not available, and will
How
be
can
up
the people
soon.
find out when we fully launch the website?
So you could do a couple things. You could go to Instagram. Well, there's one other thing. The shipping is wrong too. So if people are putting knives in their cart to see what pricing is, because all the pricing is there, right? Shipping is supposed to be like $8.56. Right now it's like $18. So it's clearly it's wrong. Yeah. So just know that. So you can look at pictures and you can see the pricing of knives currently. But dude, getting them in your hand, like, man, this thing is freaking so solid.
But when the launch happens, they could find
Yes.
that out. How?
So two things. One, you can go to Instagram and you can search Definition Knives all together, and you will see when we actually go launch and are live and knives are available for purchase, which will be within the next week. Secondly, you can actually go to definitionknives.com and you can create an account, and then I can email you from
So
yes. So you can subscribe to the newsletter, and I'll just send out a bunch of ridiculous stuff from time to time. Careful with whatever you're playing with over there. So just make sure that you do that, and know that by this upcoming weekend, provided that there's no issues with underwriting or anything with the credit card merchant processor or merchant services, as long as we're good there, we're going to be open for business by like this Friday, probably this coming up weekend. And Yeah, I think that's it. Be on the lookout because you may see some of your favorite content creators out there making videos on some of the new Definition Knives products, and it
But they got to
seems
get them back afterwards, right?
yeah, after they're used and sweaty and covered with their pocket poison and all that stuff. No,
Oh, when you said pocket, I was a little worried.
yeah, no.
I was
no.
really glad you said poison.
So, how can I mount my Noreen 50 BMG on an Anderson lower? You could duct tape it to an Anderson
Duct tape.
lower.
Brandon
Yeah.
Herner says duct tape works.
Yes. Taco Syndicate, what's up, bro? Good to see you.
Or Taco Syndicate.
He said, "Is that a Bear Creek side charger?" Gutter Cheese said, "Is that a Bear?"
Damn right it is. Good eye, Gutter Cheese.
Dude, Gutter Cheese knows his stuff, man.
Gutter Cheese, I have mad respect for.
He ain't playing. Yeah, Gutter Cheese is a hell of a dude, man. And all you guys are, man. I'm
No,
impressed by you guys
only Gutter
guys
Cheese.
out there.
Everybody else, you trash.
No. I'm impressed by you guys constantly.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys are incredible. And yes, we have
And thank God for all of you. Otherwise, I'd have to pay a therapist to run my mouth, and
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Why is it doing that? I'm playing with the little 22 mag. It's so cute. I mean, it's like, like a little adorable thing. It looks like a vape, Well, no, I mean, I'm only,
muzzling yourself.
No, it's sideways. What are you talking about? Anyway,
But it's
yeah.
funny. There was a video at SHOT Show, we're at the HK booth.
Yeah.
So you're at one end of the booth, and I hold an MP5 up. They're like, "You muzzled him." I'm like, "He's 20 feet away."
Yeah. It's all about perception. You know what I mean? It's yeah. What makes you think we aren't charging you for therapy? In a way, you are. It's expensive to do YouTube. When for 6 to 9 hours a week you're running your mouth on a computer, it's easy to. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up. We do have a lot of exciting things, man. Working with Anderson, working with Kyle has been incredible.
Yeah,
Those guys
Kyle's
are
fun.
awesome. Yeah, man, he's just such a good dude. Also, if you use code DARK on Anderson Manufacturing, you can get 10% off your order, and a few people have actually been doing that, which is dope. So
Or code Flying Rich.
yeah, you could do that, but I mean, I would use code dark.
Code dark.
But, it's
I don't get anything for it, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, I also don't get anything for it, but it just makes me feel good, and it boosts the chemicals that go to my brain when I'm happy. Aside from skirting the edge, yes, I was skirting the edge. Aside from that, I'm gonna wrap up the night by 3D printing new grips for my 22 Magnum, and just hoping that somebody out there has a box of 22 Magnum that's doing nothing, and maybe I can bum some from you guys.
I got 20. I don't know how much 22 Magnum I have. I can bring you some.
Dude, that would be awesome. I mean, I'm thinking that I'm probably going to be able to find some, but it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I gotta look.
I use code dark on everything. It's funny because I have people hitting me up constantly like, dude, I try putting code dark into like even websites that I've never heard of, like, buying like shampoo for my wife. I'll try code dark just to see if it works. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Make sure you follow Flying Rich. You can go to flyingrich.com. You get access to all of his socials on there. You can follow him on YouTube. He's actually the co-host of JCL, also known as John Crump Live. And you can follow him on Flying Rich on YouTube, all one word, or Flying Rich Firearms, all one word, on YouTube. And John Crump Live, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. when they feel like it. And then also the Uncensored Podcast, Mondays at 10 p.m. when John feels like it. And then also you can follow him on Instagram at flyingrich_official. Is that all the things?
Mm-hmm.
Is that all the things? Yeah. Okay. Did you talk to Jordan about a table? No, I did not. So we're not going for selling stuff. We're working some of the details out, but we may be there for.
Hold on. I'm gonna share a screen. I gotta share this screen. Hold on.
So we're going for a different reason. Let's just say that we may be there to potentially interview somebody.
No, we weren't allowed to talk about that.
He's asking if we're going to set up a booth at Oaks. That's all I said. I need a VP dumber than me. I need a VP dumber than me. I need a VP dumber than me.
Hold
Dude,
on. The next one's good too.
that is beautiful. JD, partisan moderators. That's, dude, you know the funny thing, you know what that reminds me of?
Hold on, my feed. I'm just scrolling straight down. My feed is killer.
That's funny.
You gotta edit.
School shooters. October 1st, 2024. Dude, that is.
I'm like, what's the next one gonna be? Oh,
You become friends with school shooters. Dude, that's.
that one we saw, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Who would that be? Don't know.
That's funny. All right. That's enough. Rethinking his choices after the debate. Dude, his faces were like classic. Man. That was good. All right, guys. Remember, like we say every single time, and it's cool. It's cool to hear things, by the way, like when Rich, when you said, like you say, Dark, like be kind, you know, you never know when that interaction you have with somebody else, and you had an interaction with somebody where they were kind to you, and you know, it had an impact on you.
Oh yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So like, remember those times that somebody was kind to you, and remember the impact that it made on you. That's the way that we're supposed to make the people around us feel. Not especially people we don't know. Now, not just the people around us that we love, not just our family members, not just our friends, but especially the people that we don't know, right? Because we're charged with the responsibility of changing people's minds. If people think that, you know, all these people that are like, you know, don't take my guns, they're, you know, crazy racist, dirtbag fascists and all that. No, we need to be the ones that are, you know, buying a bunch of kids the tickets for the merry-go-round like I did today, right? Like, you know, I'm there wearing a gun shirt and you know, 5 people behind me, and I'm just like, hey, I'm paying for all you guys. You know, who knows? Maybe they had an impact. Maybe that changed their mind. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it'll never mean anything in my entire life forever. But it made me feel good to give, even when I am certainly not in a position to give. It just, you know, bless others, you become blessed.
Yep.
So anyway, just remember that. And then, of course, we're also charged with responsibility as the men that we are. We're supposed to be warriors of God. Okay. We are in an active culture war, and it is important that as a man, because I think everyone in here is a man right now, but either way, be leaders within your family, be leaders within your community, be leaders within your church, be a leader that you would look up to, right? And be a warrior of God. That's why we're here, and then also make little, you know, Christian warriors as well. You know, the way that we do that is by holding ourselves to a higher account, by having, you know, more, you know, mo better, no, by having, you know, expectations and, you know, rules and things like that. And some of the rules are like, just sorry, words are hard. I'm tired. I'm dragging ass right now. Okay, I'm sorry, but Rich knows I've been staying up till like 4 o'clock in the morning working on the freaking website and store and stuff.
Yeah?
I send him like pictures and screenshots of stuff just so he can see it the next morning.
7 a.m. when I'm pooping, I'm like, oh wow, 4 a.m. came through.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I'm working on it. But anyway, those rules to hold ourselves to a higher standard and accountability. Some of those rules I like to share with you guys are: rule number 1 is to be kind. It's so important that we're kind in everything that we do. That brief interaction that you have with somebody else could have a massive impact on their life. So be kind. Rule number 2 is to live a life of care, compassion, contribution, give to others. When you bless others, you become blessed, because a hand that's open to give is open to receive. And rule number 3, because we know the only way for us to defeat evil is with good men skilled in violence, make sure that you're becoming as highly skilled in violence as you possibly can be, and be safe, be dangerous, and keep that thing on you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. But I do want to leave you with one quick thing. And that quick thing is this, because I promised it in the beginning. In the beginning. Oh, hold on. I need to do this first. All right, hold on. Present.
So he killed.
Okay, hang on.
Abortion is demonic, by the way.
Yeah.
Satan would
Abortion
kill
is
God
demonic.
if he could, but he can't.
So this is the abortion is demonic.
Abortion is demonic, by the way.
Yeah.
Satan would kill God if he could, but he can't. So he kills babies because he knows it wounds the heart of the father and causes chaos on the earth. You see, abortion is actually the sacrament of Satan, because abortion says you must die so I can live. But Christ says, no, I must die so you can live. And chooses to enter human history in a uterus of all locations to redeem mankind from their sins. That's why it uses the same holy, holy words. This is my body, but with the opposite blasphemous meaning. Do you think it's a coincidence that the central phrase of the entire abortion industrial complex and the culture of death today are the same words of our Savior in the First Communion, this is my body? And because Planned Parenthood is not only the largest abortion provider in the world, they're the largest provider of transgender drugs. They call both of those mutilations healthcare. Did you know this? What do they call transgender surgeries? Gender affirming. What do they call abortion? Reproductive.
Healthcare.
Right. They call them both healthcare. And so if they can't get the babies in the womb, they'll get them outside the womb. They defend both practices using bodily autonomy arguments. This is my body. It is not a coincidence that the argument for abortion is quoting the words of our Savior. Abortion is demonic, by the way.
Yeah.
Satan would.
Dude, I wanted to share that with you guys. This is my body. Take, eat. Just thinking of this is my body. My body.
I never, until you put me onto that today, I was like, never thought about it. I was like, oh.
I never thought about it, right? Like, there's so many things that we just used to seeing. Like, think about that. This is my body. The blood of the new covenant. Like, they're in every way taking God's promise to you, and they are shifting it to fit their worldly poison.
I guess one last thing about all of this is, we always say get right with God, and nobody's reached out to me and said, hey man, can I talk to you about God? I'm happy to have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
Hit me up on Instagram, and I'm serious as a heart attack.
Yeah.
My father-in-law died. He was a Jew. He didn't believe Jesus was a savior. And I kind of feel like the best thing that could ever happen to you is you end up in heaven and somebody said, I'm here because of you. And the opposite is really rough.
Yeah. It's hard. I've had a lot of questions, like, as people pass away, and I like to think that our God is a very gracious God, and our God extends grace. It's what's the word? It's like infinity, right? There is no end to the grace that He extends, and He is also a very just God, and He's the righteous dictator, and so I like to think that He may have extended grace to your father-in-law. I don't know, right? But it's a hard thing, and I could say out of the dozens and dozens and dozens of people that I have buried, the only one that I feel confidently enough to say that like I'm certain that they reached the eternal kingdom of God was my father, and that's only because I know with certainty that he dedicated his entire life to enhancing the kingdom. But I always have that thought of, I don't know, where are they? You know, Steve, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Welcome to the DLD battalion, and appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, and all the support you guys, man. You guys have been incredible. I'm super grateful for all y'all, and for everyone, for everyone in there here. You know what? Because I feel so bad that I don't always, you know, hit people back when they hit me up. I am.
Hold on, where's mine? Where...
See, I even have.
You only. I'm only up there because that's where you sent me the invite.
Yeah, and it actually won't go past this point. I don't know why. I think it's like trying to load or something. I also got 3 requests in there that are probably a bunch of OnlyFans stuff, but I don't know why it's not reloading. But if I could load and like it's showing the link to get on StreamYard, so we should definitely cut this. Someone could screenshot that and copy it quick. Anyway,
we don't have to invite him in.
Well, but it would be fun if we did. Yeah, and I'd like to extend the same thing. I've had a couple people reach out to me just about the change in the change that people have seen in me since I committed my life to Jesus Christ, and you know, I like to think that's a good thing. Some people don't like me talking about God. They think that it's you know, it's unwanted, it's a distraction, it's, you know, whatever. Like I didn't join your channel originally to hear you talk about God and to hear you talk about Jesus, but what kind of person would I be if I told you that I believe for I am putting eternity on the line, that I believe in this with every bone in my body so much? What kind of person would I be if I tamed my beliefs and didn't share those with you guys? If I didn't showcase the changes in me that I've made, if I didn't could you believe anything that I said at that point? It's a responsibility. And so many things that you know we have and we do in our everyday life. It's not just a thing that you do. You have been charged with the responsibility. You're a father. You have been charged with that responsibility. You are accountable to that. And whatever version of man's corrupted justice you think you'll have to answer for, it is nothing compared to the moment when you have to sit in front of your Creator. So I want you guys to think about that. Anyway, I love all y'all so much, man. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for just everything. Always being here, chatting, making the, you know, the stream way more fun than just us, you know, talking to ourselves. And Rich, I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you always coming in and having great conversations. And you know, he's not a light you hide. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. And yeah, don't forget, after the video cuts, it'll upload as a video to my channel. After the stream cuts, it uploads as a video to my channel, and then I'll start doing the comment of the day moving forward. But you guys, you got to step up your game with the comedy. All right, that's all I'm saying. All right, you got to step up the game. It's got to be funny, or it's got to make fun of me or Rich, mostly Rich, or it's got to. It could have good, useful, you know, content in it too. But anyway, we're wrapping up. To all those out there that are going to cast their vote to the opposing team, I would like to say, and to everyone else that thinks voting still actually makes a difference, we have to do it, because otherwise we'll feel bad and guilty. But I'm hoping and praying that we end up in a better place. And just remember, the government hates you and wants you dead. Love you guys. Bye. One more thing. And this is how I know that. Because the government doesn't just hate us. They don't just hate the people that love freedom, independence, and liberty. They don't just hate the people that are defectors and have guns. They hate their cannon fodder too. They hate their supporters too. They hate the ones that are voting for them just as much, if not more, than they hate us. So how could they ever do anything beneficial to us at all if they even hate their own people? They're willing to sacrifice their own people. And I feel like I've seen that somewhere in history before. Love y'all.